All right, so as I was saying, yeah, I've been having these PC issues. They continue. I think I mentioned before, like a week or two ago, that it was just my PC was randomly crashing sometimes when I was playing games. And I thought it had to do with my graphics card or maybe my power supply or even my motherboard. And I unfortunately still don't know what the main issue is, but horribly, the other day I was recording some of that Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu with Abra over at Loudstone Entertainment.
Right.
And during recording, for some reason, my PC just crashed. And the nightmares kicked in of like, oh my god, did all that work just go away? Like, I almost was in like some sort of shock and disbelief. Like, I'm like, oh, that didn't really just happen, right? And then like the panic ensued as my computer was slowly rebooting. And I'm like, wait, did we just lose all of that? Which was, we were about at like 25 minutes or so at that point. Luckily, none of it was lost. But now the fear is that there's just this uncertainty where I'm like, do I continue recording my own Let's Plays, our dual Let's Plays, and more Let's Plays with Abra, knowing that that could potentially happen? Or do I just like, deal with the problem head on and just try to figure out immediately what it is and try to get it resolved as soon as possible? I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Well, it's funny because like I was kind of rambling on about internet connections, but like it sounds to me like you're thinking it definitely might be like
it's
a hardware
thing. Definitely
now,
hardware.
I definitely know that there are times where I've tried. I think it have. Going to the links that you were sending me, and recording. I was actually doing a couple of things. I was not only on Discord to talk to you, and I was not only like going on to the video game news portion of the podcast. And then I was also using OBS to record it myself because I wanted to have us both putting it up on our separate channels because this is before we made the Level With Me channel.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, that one day, twice, my computer. I'm sorry, Corey. Like, I don't know what happened. My computer just crashed on me. Like, it just couldn't handle it. And I think it was because I think OBS. I was using OBS Streamlabs, which I think is definitely a software that requires maybe a little bit more out of my computer. I probably do need like a better graphics card or something like that. So I stopped doing that, and I really haven't had a problem since. Because I just haven't been using Streamlabs, because I'm not really streaming that often anymore. I'm kind of just recording things. And obviously now, I've been using OBS Studio. Things here and there, but I think I can overall, fix it. The other instance where I've had my computer crashing, regardless of being on the internet, just crashing normally, was when I think it was my motherboard and the graphics card. It was a combination of all those things just being dirty. So one day I just turned my computer off, took it apart, unplugged everything, took it apart, and I got one of those air cans, and I just cleaned the heck out of it. And it actually did run. It ran a lot smoother. I don't know if maybe that's something you have to do. Just do a little bit of maintenance,
I should probably do that. I was considering just cleaning it, because probably about a month or two ago, I did actually get in there and try to get as much as I could, but I didn't actually, take it apart or get some of the real nooks and crannies of it. I kind of just got in there and got what I could. I have plenty of those air canisters lying around, so maybe that's something I will look at tomorrow, because if all my expenses is maybe one or two of those air cans and some paper towels or something to wipe away the dreaded black dust, that's way less expensive than having to buy a new graphics card, or God forbid, a brand new motherboard and processor. That would be quite expensive. So yeah, that's definitely step one that I will probably do tomorrow.
Yeah. It might take 20 minutes, or maybe maybe put some time into it.
Yay, technology! Gotta love it.
I love technology. It never fails.
So our internets should be better now. There shouldn't be the roboted.
Or the far kids eventually if they fast. You know. Yeah. Anyway, maybe maybe I just gotta reset my router every now and again just to make it wake up. I don't know.
It could be from the heat too. You know, electronics like to be nice and cold.
Yeah, I mean, my house isn't like a sweltering, an oven. Like, we have pretty good ventilation. I mean, I don't know. It's not like those caverns of Norfair, am I right?
Cool. Yeah.
Metroid memes.
So yes, I was having PC issues. I don't know where to go from here. Okay. I know the perfect transition here. So today, my best coworker friend brought in a nice treat for me. He gave me Wawa cookies and cream milk. That is Wawa, the gas station over on the East Coast. It's a lovely place. You can get very good treats. And yes, they have cookies and cream milk. You heard me right. There's those basic bitches who got the chocolate milk. Like, get that out of there. Throw it in the trash. This is cookies and cream milk. And it tastes just like it sounds. Like it just tastes like ice cream. It's delicious.
I gotta come clean, man. I've had that on multiple occasions, and it is pretty darn good.
I've never had it. How did I miss out on cookies and cream milk?
Yeah. I mean, I've always had,
it's not a new thing. You're right.
Yeah. Like, Nesquik. The Nesquik used to have, the basic ones, like strawberry and the banana or the vanilla milk. And they're still pretty darn good, and I think Wawa has their own little versions of that. But yeah, the cookies and cream milk is, it's pretty darn good, if I have to be honest.
It tastes like ice cream, yeah.
It does. Yeah, it's kind of like a mini milkshake, just not as creamy,
But you're still getting as much sugar as would be an ice cream, so, watch out for that if you're on a diet.
Yeah. This is by no means like a protein shake. It is basically like a milkshake,
But this made me thought. I saw this was a popular thing a few weeks ago, or maybe a month at this point. But everyone on Twitter was posting their 3 items. What are your 3 items you get at a gas station or whatever? Like your 3 go-to snacks. Now, we're going to do both of ours, and here are the guidelines for my what-if scenario here.
Okay.
You get 1 bag of chips. Chips could be, Cheetos, pretzels. It pretty much, you could just say a salty snack. I don't know. Maybe you're a jerky guy. Who knows? You get 1 candy. Again, you can kind of be a little loose on your terms of candy. Maybe get a Wawa apple fritter or just a donut. I don't know.
I understand. All right.
And then,
1 salty snack.
Yes.
1 sugary snack.
Yes. And then I put soda because I saw most people were picking a soda. But, I mean, if you're a water man or you want to get, maybe you get like an iced tea, I'm okay with that too. But those are the 3. What are your 3 gas station snacks, I guess? So,
a drink, a salty snack, and a sugary snack.
That's correct.
Do you want to go first? It sounds like you already have your answers. I might have to think about mine.
I'm not really prepared, but I'll go first. Okay. I actually didn't have my answers ready, but I think I remember them. So on my chips, this is... I feel like I've never seen these in like a grocery store. I always see these at gas stations, and I really enjoy them. They're called Munchos. I think they're by Frito-Lay, but they're just like these really salty chips, and I don't know what they're made out of. I think they literally just make all the bits of potato when they're making like Lay's and other types of chips, and they take all those bits and kind of mash them together, and you're left with Munchos. And maybe they put some like sawdust or something crunchy in there.
I was going to say, it sounds like the Scrapple of potato chips. Like, take
good.
all the scraps and just throw it all in here, and there we go.
And they put so much salt on those chips, like your mouth is like a desert when you're done, but my golly, they're delicious. I always go with those.
I was gonna say, my mouth's like a desert, and I love it.
So candy, so when I go in these gas stations, I always am usually getting something for on the road while I'm driving, and I always really like a bunch of little things because I like to pick at stuff while I drive. Like I like to, if I'm snacking while I'm driving, I'm like little bite-sized things. So I'm actually gonna go with like peanut M&Ms here. They're nice little like sweet and salty. Pop them in your mouth every once in a while. Me and my girlfriend have this running gag where one time she's like, I was eating my peanut M&Ms as we were driving, and she's like, hey, can I have one? And I gave it to her, and she just threw it outside. And it's right in between like where Philly goes into New Jersey. Like there's the bridges that transfer you over from state to state. So every time we cross that bridge, she needs peanut M&Ms to throw across it. And I'm like, all right, I guess this is a tradition now. So Munchos, peanut M&Ms, and then for my drink, I'm going to be honest, I don't drink a lot of soda. Usually I'd get a water, but if I'm getting a soda, I'm going to go Dr. Pepper. So there you go. There's my 3 Munchos, peanut M&Ms, Dr. Pepper.
All right. I would say they're pretty solid choices.
What about you, Mike?
I do have my answers. Salty snacks, and if it has to be from a Wawa, I never like Wawa's pretzels. I know some people swear by those things. I'm not a big fan of them. But I'll just go and grab, and this is not like a Wawa thing, but I'll just go and grab a bag of potato chips, but mine are the salt and vinegar chips.
Oh,
I love those things.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Acquired taste, good
I was gonna say, it sounds like you're a fan of salty stuff, like this salt and vinegar. Oh my gosh. Like, if you want to talk about desert, if your mouth is dry and then you eat these things, your gums are going to be bleeding for a week, and it's amazing.
It's so good. I only recently, a few years ago, hopped on the vinegar train, but I love it. I'll put that shit all over my fries. Oh, it's so good.
Oh, yeah. Curly's fries at the beach. You always get the little vinegar thing with it. Oh, gosh. And to complement that saltiness, my favorite beverage, I mean, if I had to pick like a soda, I've always got to go with a Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew is just like my favorite soda of all time.
Just regular?
Again, yeah, I was never really a big fan of like the Code Red or the Voltage. Well, actually, I will admit, I don't know if they have it anymore. It was like a limited time thing, but it was Pitch Black. That one was really good.
That's usually like the Halloween, you know.
Yeah.
I like Pitch Black too. It's like grape.
Yeah. And the Baja Blast is also really good, but I think it's like only available at like a Taco Bell or something. I don't know if Wawa still carry that, but regardless, I just feel like a nice... again, if I'm really just not caring about what I'm eating, salt and vinegar chips, a Mountain Dew, and if I want a sweet snack, I always go with a Twix. That's like my go-to candy bar.
Man, chocolate you have some good choices. I'm liking all this. This is literally like my alt list right now. I'm like, I mean, I like a lot of things. I'm very indecisive, but yeah. I was very close to saying either Sprite or Mountain Dew.
Oh. Sprite is really refreshing. Like Coke is between Pepsi and Coke's my favorite. Like a basic Coke compared to a basic Pepsi, but like Mountain Dew is a Pepsi product. But that's just my favorite soda. I don't know what it is.
Have you ever had the peanut butter Twix?
I have, and they are also very good. But I think I still just go with the basic Twix. I just feel like the cookie, the caramel, and the chocolate, that's good enough for me. I love peanut butter with I love peanut butter and chocolate, like Reese's and stuff, and all that good stuff. But
classic Twix.
Yeah, I just can't.
It's got a good ratio. It's always like, yeah, they nailed it. Left or right? No, I want them both right in my mouth at the same time.
That and Kit Kats. I just break the rules, and I just want to I just want to watch the world burn as I just take a bite of both pieces at once. I don't break it apart.
I love it. I actually had some. Oh, I was gonna say real quick. No, you go. I'm gonna go off on a tangent.
I was just making a dumb joke how like little kids cry when I eat it in front of them. It's like, what are you doing?
You say little kids, I say my girlfriend is always upset when I just bite into it. I mean, at this point now, I just do it to spite her. I'm like, look what I'm going to do. And now she's starting to get over it. So I'm like, it's not fun anymore. But what I was going to say is on my recent trip to Hershey, like a week or two ago, they actually have like weird, like different types of Kit Kats now. So I had a birthday cake Kit Kat, which is just like white chocolate, and they put a little bit of like rainbow sprinkles on the top, and it wasn't really white chocolate. Like it almost tasted more like frosting. That was okay. The one that I preferred a little bit more was it was apple pie. So it was like, again, like a white chocolate type thing, but it was like flavored with like cinnamon and a little bit of like apple flavor, and I kind of liked it.
Okay.
I would say both of them not as good as just a regular Kit Kat, but they were all right for trying to be something different. And I think that's a trend with Kit Kats. I think they're making like a lot of different flavors. Like I think there was a lemon one. I think there was like a dark chocolate and a mint one. They're really breaking the Kit Kat mold. I don't know. I guess Kit Kat's a pretty popular candy. They're like, we'll try all these different flavors. I know
Kit Kat's all pretty good.
Japan has had always like a bunch of different Kit Kat flavors. I always see like matcha Kit Kat, and apparently that's really good. And I'm like, all right, I'd give it a try.
Yeah.
Kit Kat is good though. It's always crunchy. It's always delicious.
It's funny that you mentioned that, 'cause I've tried Japanese candies and sodas, and they're good, but they're different. Like, it's like they don't taste like American candy, you know?
I know what you mean.
Or even the sodas, like they're just different. They're still sweet, but it's like a different kind of sweetness. Like, obviously, it's like I'm sure a whole different process for how they make them. But yeah, because I had some friends who visited Japan and they brought back like candies and chocolates and sodas, and I'm just like, wow, these are like I didn't say, wow, this is the best candy I ever had. It's more like, oh wow, this is interesting. Like when you try it, it's just because it's just different, you know.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I've had multiple different Japanese candies and even candy from like Europe. It's like the chocolate has like a different consistency and slightly different taste.
Yeah, I think in Disney I might have done that. Like I think they sell like like at Epcot, for example, they might sell some candies and the other like just snacks from around the world. I think I've tried like it was probably like I don't remember which country it was. Probably like. Is Denmark Denmark one of the countries over there, or I forget which one it is, but like the Northern European country or whatever. And I think I tried some of their candy and I'm like, oh, that's actually kind of good. It was kind of like I want to say Bavarian chocolate, but I don't think it's what it was, you know. But gosh, I probably sound so uncultured and ignorant, and I apologize to any of our European listeners, but like I'm just saying, I tried some European chocolate and I liked it.
I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that most things at Epcot are pretty good to incredible. Shout-outs to Germany, which has the giant pretzels that are the size of your head.
Maybe it was Germany where I had that.
Yep.
But yeah,
there's a bunch of chocolate. Of course, there's beer there if that's your thing.
Drinking around the world, that was like the whole reason why I went to Epcot.
The piece de resistance in Germany is the caramel corn that's made with the Werther's. I don't even think it's Werther's caramel. It's a different caramel, but they make like caramel corn with like this really delicious buttery caramel. It's so good, and literally just all of Germany smells like that. So it's like, why wouldn't you just be there all the time?
Yeah, why would I leave?
I mean, it gets awkward when the person dressed up as Hitler starts walking around and marching. It's like, all right, Germany. That doesn't actually happen. That was
like, Corey, I'm not sure what Germany you went to.
That was a joke, everyone.
Corey, you're so insane.
I can hear the crickets right now. It's all right. Here's a smooth.
Crying. Yeah, please get us out of this conversation.
Here's a smooth transition. So this weekend or during last week, I got a brand new phone. That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
I'm holding it right in front of the screen, even though we don't record anything. I hope you guys can all not see the phone I'm holding up right now, which is the Samsung Galaxy S20 5G. It's the latest on the market. I got the Cosmic Gray because that's all they had. I don't care. I'm going to put a case on it. What is the... I honestly don't get that. Like, I don't understand what's the point of having the color of your... Like, the back of the phone. Like, what does it really matter? What are they going to say? Corey, people get clear cases. No,
to make everyone jealous.
Who cares? I literally was looking online because... I needed to know how big the screen was, and I saw there were like 4 different colors of my phone, and I'm like, great. I wouldn't have gotten. Maybe I would have got the white one. I don't know, but my sister came with me, and she got a new iPhone, and there's like 6 different colors of that, and I'm like, well, what's the point? Like, you're just gonna. I just put a case on my phone. I don't care. It could be yellow or who knows what color for.
Yeah, but then you're the edgy person. It's like, well, you're not wearing a case. You're edgy. I don't know.
I do agree with that. You're really feeling like you're just like walking around pantsless with no case on your phone. You're like balls free. Like this thing could break in any second or explode. And as cool as that is, I'm a case guy. I always like having a case. And right now, this phone is like very sleek, so I am nervous every time I hold it. I mean, right now, I'm in my carpeted apartment, so if I drop my phone, it'd be fine. But every time I'm outside or I go for like a walk or run, I'm like, oh my God, I need this case to get here ASAP. My baby's going to break.
Corey, that's how I feel. Even the last time, I still have my own phone, my old iPhone 6. I never got rid of it. And the screen, I mean, it works, but it's a little like wonky because the screen cracked. And you might think, oh, how'd the screen crack? Because I didn't have a case on it. And it was back when I was in my apartment, fully carpeted. And of course, I dropped it. And I had a case. I just took it off. I took the case off like an idiot, just for a second. Then I reached for my phone. And then I guess I'm used to having the case on it with the extra grip and the extra thickness. So maybe that's why I fumbled my phone. And I dropped my phone, not on the carpet, but of course it lands on my glass side table next to my sofa. And it lands, and it wasn't like it lands face first on it. Like if you're like holding your phone in front of you, like tall ways, I guess. And the top right corner, that corner, like fell perpendicular to the glass part of the table, and that caused like a spider web crack across my screen. And I'm thinking, and again, like I'm just like worst case scenario. Why did that happen? Why did the worst case scenario? The only thing that could have been worse is if it like fell flat on like the actual corner of the table and it like punctured it. But like the second worst scenario happened, and I was furious.
Well, thank God, Mike, you didn't have one of those Nokia phones, or you would have had to buy a whole new coffee table.
I know. It probably would have broke through the floor too.
I was gonna make a joke about Apple, but I'm like, I like this one more. But anyways, just a quick review on my phone. It's great. I honestly didn't even expect this is like the newest Galaxy. I didn't expect to buy this, but it was like the most affordable, weirdly enough. So I'm like, I'll just get the newer one. I actually wanted to get a really like stupid proprietary, like it's called the Galaxy Z Flip. If any of you guys want to go look this up, it's literally one of the folding screen phones, and I really wanted to buy it because it kind of looks like a Game Boy SP. Like it's a tiny So there's two different folding screen phones that Samsung makes. I think one's just called the Fold, which is a normal sized phone. Then it opens up into almost like a mini tablet. That's too big. I don't need that. I wanted this little one, which I think when it's folded, it's almost like the size of like a wireless earphone like holder. And then it flips open to like an average size phone, like 4 to 5 inches, whatever. And I don't know. I just really like that design, but it was hell of expensive, and surprisingly enough, none of the AT&T stores around our area had them in stock. And I went this Friday, and I'm like, I want a new phone now. I don't want to wait. And I was like, it's like $10 or $20 more a month. I don't really need it. And from what all the reviews said anyways, it's kind of like, yeah, you're just paying for the folding screen. It's not necessarily better than any other phone, which I'm like, I get it. But that being said, I do really, really, really love my new Galaxy S20. Also, just to put into perspective what my last phone was, it was a Samsung Note 5. So it was maybe like 6 or 7 years old, and it was really going. The battery was dying super quickly. That phone got beat up because not accidentally, but my case on that one broke, and I just had no case on it for like a year because I'm like, I'll eventually get a new phone. Surprisingly, it held up pretty well, though, even though it got a couple nicks on it. But anyways, I really like my phone. I like this phone so much that it actually has me looking at some mobile games. I've been doing a little mobile gaming. I'll talk about that a little later on the podcast, but yeah.
Oh, goody.
I think we mentioned before, I typically don't play any mobile games, except, that's with like the Switch or something, but yeah, believe it or not, because this is like the newest phone and it has a really nice screen, I'm like, I actually want to check out some mobile games and see how they look in terms of modern, quote unquote, mobile gaming. I don't really have anything else to say about the phone other than it's really long and I'm not used to that. It's like 6 inches or something like that, the screen.
That's what she said.
There it is. There it is, guys. We hit the "that's what she said" joke. Put it in the timestamp.
All right. Where's my checklist? All right, cross that off. Good. I got my that's what she said joke out of the way. I'm happy.
All right. I got a few other things here I want to talk about before we get into the actual podcast.
Okay.
I had this thought the other day when I was just like, I think I was just driving home or something, but I was just like thinking about like I was kind of just like thinking about how did I get into video games and like what really like drove me into like loving video games as much as I did. Like I literally look back in time and I'm like, I wonder like if there were people influencing me into being like, yo, these are really cool. And of course, I think of two of the most influential people in your life, I would think most people would say, is their parents. And I thought to myself, what were like video games that my mom and my dad were really interested in, or like they played a lot? I mean, some people, unfortunately, are going to say like their parents didn't play any video games. But for my example, well, I'm going to start with my dad. Now, granted, I don't really know a lot about my dad. He kind of like, me and my mom, or him and my mom went through a divorce when I was younger. So he pretty much left at the age of 5 for me. And I only really see him during the holidays. So I know him, but I kind of don't. It's sad. I'm not here to talk about that. But when I was younger, I do remember, I think we had a Sega Genesis, and I remember he was really into one of the NFL or NHL games, like the old school hockey games. And it was really cool. I remember, I think I even played with him, even though I had no idea what I was doing, because I was probably only like 3 or 4, And he had like one of those big like CRT TVs that were like, if that thing fell on me, I probably would have died.
Oh yeah. Classic.
And then for my mom, I was going to say that really growing up, there was only one game, which was randomly out of nowhere that she liked, like that I was playing video games at the time. And I'm like, you want to play a new video game? Which was Epic Mickey. I think that's just because she really likes Disney stuff. But that came out like
that's the
yeah.
That's the wrong game for her to play.
Yeah,
right
like it was just I don't know how she even heard about it, because I think it came out on the Wii in like 2008 or 2009. It might have been close to the launch of the Wii. And yeah, like I honestly, like I think I watched her play it like once. Maybe she didn't even get to play it more because, as a little kid, I probably hogged the Wii. I was playing a lot of like Brawl or who knows what. But yeah, it was just like so bizarre. Like, I'm like, you want to play a new game? Like, God, when was the last time you played a game? No offense. But besides that, she always talks about how much she loved Frogger and Pac-Man back in the day, Miss Pac-Man specifically. And I'm like, hell yeah, Mom. Those are great games. No joke intended there. Both of them hold up really well. Pac-Man's great. I don't care what age you are. You all understand how to play Pac-Man. You eat the dots, you get away from ghosts. That's ingrained in our brains the second we're born. Because we all hate ghosts, right? And we all want to eat. Both common facts right there.
Yeah, we all want to eat over large bananas and cherries and other
keys.
Fruits.
Everyone wants to eat keys.
Yeah, who doesn't?
That's all I got, though. What about you, Mike? Did either of your parents ever show any interest in video games? And if so, which ones?
Definitely my dad. It was he's not much of a gamer anymore, like at all. But like, I would say, because my dad was 25 when he had me, which is crazy to think about. I'm 30 now. That is pretty
young, yeah.
Yeah, so he was 25 when he had me, and I remember, and I was born in 1990. So you can imagine, it's 1990. My dad had the original Nintendo Entertainment System. So of course, as a young kid, I would watch him play it. I remember little like images in my head of him playing it, and then when I became like 2 or 3 years old, well, mind you, when I was 2 or 3, this is 1993. The Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis already existed, but my dad didn't have it. It was just the original Nintendo, and the very first game I ever played was the Super Mario Brothers. Just like that's kind of like the tale of oldest time. But even for me in the early 90s, that was the very first game I ever played, and he would play it all the time too. My mom even said like, yeah, because my parents also went through a divorce. So before they separated, my mom would say, yeah, it's all your dad would do on his days off. If like there was nothing to do and he was watching you, he would hold you or put you in a crib or like a little seat or whatever, whatever babies would be, whatever little crate or whatever would hold a baby like during the day. But then he would play video games and I would watch him. So that was definitely a big influence on why I wanted to get into him. And of course, when I became like 2-3 years old and I started playing video games, I just fell in love with them. And then eventually, when my parents were separated, I was probably about 5 years. Again, this is crazy. I had a really like weird and delayed like video game life, because like when I was about 4 years old, that was probably when my mom got me the Super Nintendo, and then that's also when my dad eventually got a Sega Genesis.
Interesting.
So when I was 4, that's when my dad and my dad liked it too. He was playing like Mortal Kombat and Primal Rage, all those old school like cool fighting games on the Sega Genesis. And because like my uncles were younger than him, so my uncle like so when my dad was like 28, 29, my uncles were like in their like early 20s. So they would come over and hang out with, and they'd be all like they're like the typical people that you would expect to be in the games nowadays. Kids in their young 20s, and they were all into like those fighting games. So I would play with them.
And yeah, then, you would watch Sub-Zero rip the man's skull and spine off.
Oh, those games are great. In Primal Rage, you get to see like those giant gorillas like rip a T-Rex's head off. Oh my gosh, awesome.
Basically Godzilla.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. With Godzilla vs. King Kong or something. And then my mom is the one who got me the Super Nintendo, and I think she just got it because hey, it's a popular system and everyone liked it, and she knew I liked Mario, and the Super Nintendo. That story just I've said it many times. I love the Super Nintendo, and I played countless games on that system. So my mom would just watch me play, but she never really played. She kind of just liked watching me play because I think she was like surprised, like, wow, my kid's only 4 years old and he's playing video games. But that's just kind of what happens, when you give a young kid a piece of technology, he just learns he learns how to use it.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my little childhood video game story of how I got into it.
Awesome. I have no segue from this. I thought about it. I'm like, I thought that this could be interesting to talk about.
I think I think that's actually a really good topic. I kind of wish we could talk about it more at some point. Maybe we can talk about it in a future podcast.
Yeah, definitely. Because we both kind of have similar situations. I mean, I think a lot of people nowadays, well, now it's honestly probably changed a bunch, but going through the different eras of the different video games, like from there, I actually got a little spoiled because I think I ended up getting almost like every video game console afterwards. Like I had the N64, I had the PlayStation. I unfortunately didn't get a lot of the standard games. I don't know why I never had like Mario. I was really into Pokemon. That was like my shit when I was a kid. Pokemon, everything. Every Pokemon game on the N64. I had Pokemon Red and Blue for some reason. Like both of them. I had one Game Boy. It's like, what's the point?
Yeah. See, I had the younger brother, so that's kind of where like having the two Pokemon games and all that stuff kind of it benefited us.
Right. Yeah. But anyways, right, maybe we'll touch upon this on another podcast. For now, let's begin the episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Level With Me podcast, episode 58. That's a lot. I am Game Bro Corey, a.k.a. just Corey, I guess. And I am joined once again by my co-host, Mike, a.k.a. The Collector's Vault. How you doing, Mike?
Doing pretty good, Corey. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Level With Me podcast. I had no segue from that. I'm kind of pulling
segue masters here.
I am pulling a Corey right here where I don't know what I didn't think ahead, and I'm kind of just making up as I go along, and it's not working in my favor.
I like that verb, pulling a Corey. I'm gonna quote that. That's my whole life, everyone. I never think ahead.
I just can't wait for like sometime in the future when like Megan's gonna like have to make up a lie on the spot and be like, "Oh gosh, I just pulled a Corey." Not saying you lie. Not saying you lie, but just saying like how you have to make something off the top of your head. That's pulling a Corey. Great. Now, I didn't mean to say you're a liar. I just meant to say that you make things off the top of your head.
Hey, I got a perfect segue here with our first funny news story. You know who's a liar? Fucking, oh my God, what's her name now? I can't think of
Velma?
it. Hanna
Barbera.
Hanna-Barbera. There we go. They lied to us for centuries, people. Velma is a lesbian. It's been confirmed. James Gunn and Mystery Inc. Incorporated producer confirm it. Velma's a lesbian. What the fuck? This is like Bill Murray's scene in Ghostbusters, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Like, where is this coming from?
It's all right. Look, just to get it out there, I'm pretty sure that you and I can both say that we're not like phobic or
Oh,
against
yeah.
LGBT. Well, it's not that. It's just the fact
I'm
that
all
like
inclusive.
it just comes out of nowhere, and I feel like, but why? It's kind of like you just, but why? And I feel like it's just pandering, because there have been many times where Velma has obviously showed interest in men. I watched Scooby Doo. We were just talking about our childhood. I have watched Scooby Doo because it was on Cartoon Network on all those Hanna-Barbera reruns, or whoever made Scooby Doo. You know, one of those things. And I don't think it was Hanna-Barbera. But anyway, on many occasions I've seen Velma show interest in men. There was the Johnny Bravo crossover with Scooby Doo, and she liked Johnny Bravo. Anyway,
All right.
So I think it's just pandering. I think it's all it is.
I'm gonna make a bold statement here, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to throw my nads out on the table, so to say. Here, I don't mean to make it creepy by saying nads.
Nads.
Considering my following statement, which I'm gonna say, Velma is best girl. Daphne, throw her out a window. I want Velma, but now that I know Velma is not okay with me, that makes me sad, and now I don't know what to do.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Velma was like that cute nerd.
She's thick too. I mean, did you see those hips? They don't lie.
All right, let's calm down, Corey. It's a cartoon character. But anyway, no, I get what you're saying. Like, I think that was kind of maybe like a little bit of like a pop culture thing, especially like on the internet. Like how people felt like, oh yeah, like Velma's the prissy, rich, attractive girl. But hey, we all like Velma, the cute nerd that if you comb her hair back and take off those glasses, I bet she's pretty hot. Because I'm pretty sure we saw that. Well, it's funny because in the live-action Scooby-Doo movie, she was played by Linda Cardellini, and I think at first, like, she was doing a pretty good. Like, I mean, the movie was terrible, but like, she was doing a good job.
Whoa,
playing
terrible!
What? The movie's not that good. Let's just be honest.
Terrible. It doesn't movie.
Did we have to go back and talk about the greatest?
It's got Mr. Bean in it. That guy's funny.
What was the greatest trilogy of all time that you watched? It did have Mr. Bean. Yeah, it did, and it had Scrappy Doo.
I love the guy who plays Shaggy. He does a good job.
Oh no, what's his name? Matt.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, what is it? Let me look
Matt
up
something.
quick.
It's the guy who plays Shaggy. That's all you gotta know. Matt Lauer, not Matt Lauer. He's on the news. Matt Lauer. Why did I say that?
It's Matt Lillard.
Matt Lillard. I called him Matt Lauer. Oh my gosh. Anyway, Matthew Lillard.
We're getting really sidetracked. Have your own opinion about that live action movie. It's great. I don't care what you said.
All I was gonna say was, and the funny thing is, because they got a hot girl, because Linda Cardellini is very attractive, and she played Velma, and that's kind of why it's like that's kind of what I'm talking about. Like you behind the nerdy glasses and the weird clothing, there's an attractive girl under there. I think we all saw that in Velma, But now, yes, as you said, now we know she's not interested. She's interested in Daphne. And
like you were saying, Mike, here at the Level With Me podcast and our channel, this is not meant to be phobic in any way.
No, absolutely
I embrace all my brothers and sisters, whatever the right words are. I don't care what you're attracted to. I'm all we're both all inclusive. I'm not trying to. I didn't point this article out to make fun of it, like as like a negative. I just thought it was. I'm just trying to be silly. That's I understand. The whole gist of it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll drop it after this one point I want to make. But let's again, if the opposite was true, let's say it was always known that she was a lesbian, and then out of nowhere they just change it and say, "Oh no, actually she's straight." I'd be like, "Well, then why? Like why? Like why?" That's what I'm saying. It's just this. It's that sudden shift where it's like, "Oh no, this is what she is." It's kind of like a retcon, When people retcon a movie or a story or a TV show, and you're like, "Wait, why? Why are you retconning the story and changing it?" Anyway. We'll move on.
With the newest Scuba movie, now I haven't watched it yet, but I hear they dive into a lot of the Hanna-Barbera back catalog. It's got like Dick Dastardly in it. It's got the Blue Falcon, I think is his name. It's got Captain Caveman in it. All I'm saying is, who's next? Who else is also going to be, what? Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Like, who's going to be the next one?
Mm-hmm.
The retconning, they took away Velma. Gosh darn it. rock on, Queen. You know, I'll be clapping and tearing up every time she's like hitting on another girl. I'll be like, oh, she's the one who got away, but God bless her. Go.
That's it.
Go,
Velma, the one that
go hunt that box, girl.
That's going to be the title of this episode. Velma, the one that got away.
I'm going to write it down right now before I forget.
It's perfect. It's perfect. Oh, gosh.
Anyways.
Anywho.
Let's move on to some actual video game news stories here. So this one kind of came out of nowhere and honestly shocked me a little bit. Netflix Dragon's Dogma anime will be released in September. Netflix Dragon's Dogma anime adaptation will be coming to the streaming service on September 17th. Netflix also received the first poster for the anime adaptation, which serves as the first look at the art style for the series. Netflix announced a new anime adaptation of Dragon's Dogma back in 2019. It's produced as a partnership between Anima Sublimation, excuse me, I got all tongue-tied there, and David Production, and is based on the 2012 action RPG developed by Capcom. That specifically, that sentence right there, or the end of it, is the point where I'm like, this comes out of nowhere, even though they already announced this, apparently. Yes, Dragon's Dogma anime series based on the 2012 Capcom hit Dragon's Dogma. Now, bear with me, I know there is a happy 6 people out there who have played Dragon's Dogma and
probably also like Bakugan
and preached to the choir that this is a good game, and I hear you. But why is this getting an anime adaptation out of all of Capcom's properties? That's the part that makes me scratch my head and go,
no Resident Evil. For all I know, there probably was an anime for Resident Evil, but that, like, just imagine something like that. You know, that'd be kind of cool.
Very odd. Also makes me smell possible sequel, because why not? It's all marketing. You know, that stuff works. Anywho, that's interesting. Also, I will say, though, the animation does look cool. You know, it's kind of American anime looking. Well, it almost looks like a little 3D, too. I'm not looking at the trailer. I'm looking at screenshots here. But, yeah, I don't know. Maybe that'll be good. Who knows? I actually always did want to play Dragon's Dogma. I thought it looked kind of interesting. Although, I just don't know who's ever played that game. That was my joke I'm trying to make. Anyways.
All 6 Bakugan fans, they played.
Next up, PS5 pre-orders could be limited, 1 per household. I don't care what this article says. Shoutouts to Sony. This better be true. Scalpers, get out of here. It's Scalper. It's anti-Scalper. I love it. I don't care what anyone says. This is anti-Scalper. I'm all in. And
more importantly, it's not like, I think the Switch is a good example of something that, yes, you can get more than 1 per household, because they're, again, it has that portable, you know, characteristic. But the PS5, let's even say you have 5 boys. Let's say like your family of 7, a mom, a dad, and 5 boys, and they love PlayStation. That's unfortunate that you have. That's very unfortunate that you have that many. You have that many boys that only have 1 PS5. But technically, that's all they need. They don't need their own PS5. They just need the one for the household.
Yeah, that is actually an interesting point that it says household.
That's kind of how these consoles work.
Can I even buy this? You know? I don't have a house.
Yes, I oh yeah.
It doesn't say apartment hold. Damn it.
So when you place your pre-order, it's going to say, all right, can you please send us a copy of the deed to your house?
Sorry, you don't have a house, so you can't buy our new console.
You know, so live with your parents.
Here's 6 PS4s. Damn it.
Yeah, 6. No, they'll give you 1 1/4 PS4. That technically adds up to 5. Math jokes.
So I mean, you know, it's all jokes. If this is real, you know, you just go to Walmart, you pre-order one there. You just go to Target, you pre-order one there. You go to Best Buy, you go to Amazon. You know, there's ways to cheat the system. I don't know, like I said, if this is just specifically for Sony's website, but I'm all aboard. We need more of this anti-scalper technology.
It's probably going to ask, like, when you do this, and I do want to agree that, yeah, it definitely is like anti-scalper or anti-secondary market. Technically, you can still buy it and sell yourself if you want to, because there still will be a secondary market for these things. It just won't be as like it won't be like the guy ordered 50 and now he's gonna just jack the price up.
Yeah, yeah, Mike, you're right. You might actually be flipping the whole coin on its head right now. Like maybe this is pro scalper. Like maybe they're all just gonna buy them online real quick, and then everyone's gonna be like, "Well, I didn't get one. The scalpers all got them." Because we all know the scalpers have no lives. They're just constantly pressing F5 to refresh the pages as soon as a pre-order link goes up.
Right, but it's at the very least, it's better than again the one scalper who bought. It's kind of like in any part of the secondary market. Take cardboard for example, like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon Magic. There are people who will just buy out a card to destroy the secondary market. So at least with this, it's pro-consumer and anti-scalper because you can't. Scalper is probably not the best term, but I do get what you're saying. But this is a good way to prevent that guy from buying 50 PS4s and then or PS5s or whatever console, and then just saying, "All right, cool. I don't know. I bought it for $500. Now they're worth $700 on eBay. I'll sell all 50 for that additional $20 profit per unit, or whatever, or a $200 per unit, excuse me, or whatever the case may be. So I think this is a good thing. Because also I think, I'm sorry, one quick thing, because similar to how it always is with new consoles, there's always a big demand for these things. Like I remember when the Switch came out, it was impossible to find a Switch when it first came out.
Yeah.
So this is going to make it a little bit easier for everyone to get a little piece of the action.
I have two little tangents that we could go off just about this news. The first one is, I don't necessarily think this is just kind of a statement. It doesn't really affect this at all, but it does kind of bum me out. I was just listening to a podcast a few weeks ago where they were talking about console launches, and you think back to the Wii or even that era, like the PS3 and the Xbox 360. There were lines outside of Best Buy, Walmart, wherever, for people waiting for the console. Some people would even wait a couple days before they came out. And, I feel like we did lose a lot of that, especially even with just last console generation with the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. And I'm not even saying that that's going to be gone. There's still going to be a handful of people standing out at Target or Best Buy when these new consoles drop. But it's just not the same as it was, if that makes sense.
And it's funny because gaming has gotten more and more popular because now,
exactly,
we're hitting record sales for all these. I would say the Xbox One was a bad example, but the Switch, PS4 is a great example for an amazingly sell. These consoles are just selling better and better. So I feel like the quantity of these console sales is increasing. So you feel like they have to adapt to these, to the whole supply and demand thing.
Right.
Because you're right. Because back when the Wii came out, it's funny, the Wii, as big of a success that it was impossible to find. Impossible to find a Wii. But take for example the PS4, that still outsold the Wii. It was the PS4 was the phenomenal console. The next gen, it was the generation afterwards. Better graphics, better games, blah 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 blah, all that good stuff. And the PS4 was again, so later it was a futuristic console, and it still sold more than the popular Wii. I think it sold more than the PS3 as well. I think the PS2 though was still the best selling console of all time. Correct me if I'm wrong.
But we'll have to wait and see. We just talked about, I think last week, they are making Just Dance 2020 on the Wii. Are we going to get a PS4 game, years after the PS4? I don't think so. Therefore, the Wii's better.
Yeah, I think part of that. I think the PS2 was getting new games up until the early 2010s.
Yeah, I think you're right too.
Yeah, so that was kind of ridiculous.
Thank you, Brazil.
Anywho,
my other little tangent that I wanted to go on. This is more broad, but I'm going to be very curious to see, and I think we're going to know the answer to this once we actually see whatever the prices are for these next-gen consoles, but if any of the, more than half the people in the United States or something like that are unemployed, or anything that happened with the pandemic is going to affect the console, sales of the new launch, whatever I'm trying to say here. Now, a lot of the market are saying that video games always sell. Like, they don't think that anything's going to happen here, which I can definitely see that. But I could also see a very slow install rate, which also can happen a lot at the beginning of consoles. You know, they don't offer as many new games yet, depending on what the launch lineups are.
Okay.
Do you have any thoughts on any of that? You think they're just going to sell like normal, or you think maybe the initial sales are going to be hindered because maybe people aren't going to spend as much money on that? I don't know. It's hard to say.
You are still referring to the PS5, correct?
Yeah, like this next gen. I'm wondering if they're going to be like their launches are going to be affected.
I think they will not be affected because clearly there's no problem with people just pre-ordering a game things delivered to their doorstep.
Yeah,
I think if anything, it will be a bigger issue because now it's not so much people waiting in line for things; it's just people refreshing their page up on the pre-order page, you know, until cool, and then they just buy one. So I think there's going to be a lot of I think there's going to be an almost instantaneous pre-order.
Okay. So that's like most modern technology, because that's how it was when the Switch went live. Like I was just like freaking out. Like I'm like, oh, I got to pre-order that. I think that was in January too. Like it was only 2 months before the Switch came out.
Yeah, I think they said pre-orders. I think pre-orders were like they sold out
after that. Yeah, it was after that big like Switch reveal where they're actually like, here's the console. Isn't that crazy? They had their full reveal like 2 months before the thing came out.
Yeah, and in like January or February of all times, like it released in March. What a strange window, you know.
But it worked.
Hey, they made it work for them. So
it solidified how cool it was. A lot of people, I mean, we don't have to go on rubbing Nintendo's ego here, but a lot of people thought the Switch could have potentially have been Nintendo's last console, but on the quite the contrary, the Switch is selling incredibly. I would say Nintendo is putting out some of their best games ever on the thing, you know. Yeah.
If I may just quickly wrap this up by quoting Arlo, I think the Switch might be the greatest console Nintendo's ever made, hands down.
Oh yeah.
Not that the Wii might be a more popular one, but again, the Wii was it was brilliant how the Wii pandered to the blue ocean, pandered to the grandmas and the uncles and everything that everyone could play. Everyone could play the Wii. It reached out to everyone who was not a gamer, but the Switch is like, this is for gamers. This is for the true Nintendo fans. That's why the games are so good. That's why the system itself is just amazingly designed. This is hands down. To say it's my favorite Nintendo system is tough because again I'm very nostalgic to the older ones, which really have imprinted on me. But I would say the Switch is hands down the best console they have made so far.
I hear you, Mike. You know, they got Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey. Who knows what's next? All good points. Yeah,
this Metroid game coming out maybe that'll solidify, depending on how good that game is. Because that's like my favorite series of all time. If that game is as good as I hope it is, maybe that'll be one of the final pieces that'll just say, "Yep, the Switch has it. It has everything. You know, it is the best console."
True. That could be. Maybe we'll get the fabled
F-Zero.
New F-Zero game. Yep.
Yeah.
But I do just want to add to that and say, does the Switch have a handle? Nope. GameCube's still better. Moving on.
You know what? You're absolutely right. You got me. You got me there, Corey. It does not have the handle.
It's that simple, guys. It doesn't have a handle. All right. Steering us back onto the road here. We got a little bit more to talk about PlayStation. So this is kind of interesting. A couple days ago, Jeff Keighley, he's like a big video game guy. He did like this very short like live stream where he actually got to play around with the PS5. What is this thing called? The DualSense controller. And he even showed off a little bit of what is this game called? The new Robobot game. Where is it? The title's escaping me right now.
Robo-Man. I don't know.
It's not in this article. Thank you, IGN. Maybe I'm just missing it because I'm an idiot. But it's like Planet. It's like a free-to-play. Like it's kind of like the tech demo for the PlayStation 5. Like the game is meant to showcase all the new features of the controller because there actually are some interesting new features here. Most notably, let me see if they pointed out in the article. There's actually like you remember in the DS when you could like blow into the mic and it would actually like affect things? Well, you can do that on the PlayStation 5 controller.
So I can sneeze and make something happen on the screen.
That's
Amazing.
correct. Yes.
Amazing.
Also, there's a picture of the DualShock 4 and the DualSense controller next to each other. You can tell the DualSense 5 is, or whatever it's called, the DualSense. It's a little bit bigger. It's more smooth. I would say it doesn't have as many like rugged edges as what the PS4 had, or maybe refined the smooth edges of the PS4 into more of a sleek finish with its new two-tone white and black.
Yeah, it's hard to tell from a visual standpoint, but I'm hoping they went for a more ergonomic controller, because like the PlayStation controller has been somewhat consistent ever since its incarnation on PS1.
Yeah,
and then this one definitely looks the most different. It actually looks like as if there's like a universal look for a controller, and that's kind of what this looks like.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely more like conforming to normalities. They changed a little bit of how the triggers are. The buttons and the sticks are slightly different. I'm literally just looking at the picture Jeff Keighley uploaded where it's the controllers right next to each other.
Yeah.
The PlayStation, like the home button, if you will, was just like a little rounded button on the DualShock 4, which is now just the indent of the PlayStation logo. Like it's just a button, the logo. It's not like round and then the PS logo, if you will. My one hot take that is making me mad just looking at controllers side to side, they got rid of the colors. The square, triangle, cross, and circle button are not colored on the DualSense 5. They're just gray, which makes me sad.
That's sad. Those colors help me out big time.
They're very iconic for PlayStation. I 110% think that in like a few months they'll be like, here's the classic theme DualSense 5, and it'll be gray and it'll have the colors.
Corey, you know what? I think
I'll buy it.
I bet it's all marketing scheme.
I'll buy it.
It's the same thing with the Game Boy than the Game Boy Color.
All right. We can Google it right now. We just have to see what's the next PlayStation anniversary when they'll be like, oh, here's the classic DualSense 5. Marketing.
Only $20 more than the original.
Exactly. You got to pay for those paint,
Yeah. Do you know how expensive it is to get that paint on those little icons? It's pretty darn expensive.
So yeah,
according to the CEO.
That's a news story. It looks neat. It looks like a robot. Overcooked. You hear about this game?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you mentioned this game before.
It tears friendships apart. You're trying to make sushi on one end while your partner is not cooking dishes, or it's always someone else's fault. You're always doing a good job when you play Overcooked.
It sounds worse than how Mario Party makes people hate each other.
Right. It's a fast-paced, hectic party game. But anyways, Overcooked, all you can eat, coming to Xbox Series X and PS5. Overcooked All You Can Eat is a compilation of all Overcooked and Overcooked 2 DLCs, pretty much packed together into one nice, crisp-looking bundle. Announced during the Summer Game Fest Developers Showcase, Overcooked All You Can Eat includes a full remaster of both games, presented in 4K 60 FPS, and includes online play across the entire package, including crossplay. And I believe this is coming to every console, including the next-gen PS5 and Xbox Series X. And all I'm going to say is I own the other two games. I'm potentially thinking of double-dipping and buying this on the new consoles, because this is a great party game. And at the end of the day, just getting both the games and all the DLC, that's like a lot of content. If you like Overcooked, if you like stressful co-op chaos... Did some alliteration there. There you go.
Do you like being stressed out? Then we have the game for you.
You can cook in it. It's like Cooking Mama, except it's not stealing your, information.
Yeah, it's not stealing.
I don't know if we talked about it, but like a month or two ago, there was a new Cooking Mama game, and people were like, oh, it's stealing all your information. They were like, what? It's a whole thing. Look it up.
Ugh. I don't know if I want to. That sounds terrible.
Yeah, video games are terrible. Why are we even doing this podcast? Let's turn it off and talk about meatball pizza. Hey, we got the meatball pizza gag in here.
Speaking of dinner, here's what I ordered.
So we got some Microsoft stories here. I have my stories vaguely organized. There's actually not that many stories this week. Microsoft no longer selling 12-month Xbox Live Gold plans ahead of Xbox Series X launch. Microsoft has officially stopped selling 12-month Xbox Live Gold plans, possibly hinting at a stronger focus on Xbox Game Pass Ultimate or a new service that could be on the way in time for the launch of Xbox Series X. Microsoft confirmed that the changes to True Achievements, stating that even though the 12-month plan is not being sold at this time, the 3-month and 1-month plans are still available for purchase. I find this very fascinating because I think that's generally what most people normally go to for their SKU. Again, I don't know if they're going to be focusing more on this Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. I think one of our stories is actually going to talk about what that includes. Yeah, it does. But yeah, that's very strange to me. You would think that a year subscription would just be pretty standard.
Yeah, I think that's like a good middle ground, like, because I can't really see someone getting online play just for the month. Yeah, just half the year, but like a year like that, that's fine. Like I think that's just like a good cycle, you know. But what do I know?
Yeah, it almost just seems like kind of inconvenient to the consumer. It's like, I got to re-up again, you know.
You know what it might be. I'll be brief on this, but there is the concept that I've learned from one of the guys I follow on YouTube called circuit breakers. Now, this is applied when you sell on eBay. And it's not just using eBay. It's used like in many forms of like sale or trading in stocks and bonds and all. I think basically on Wall Street, where let's say you have 100 items and you want to sell them on eBay or anywhere. You don't just list you don't list all 100. You list like 10 at a time, for example. So that way, when all 10 of those sell, you're forced to go and see, okay, all 10 sold. What's the current price? And then you can actually like readjust and then relist 10 more and do a price adjustment potentially in your favor and make it go and maybe raise the price if whatever you're selling has gone up in price. I wonder if it's a similar marketing thing where it's like instead of giving you guys like a whole year to play online, we'll give them like let's reduce the period to only 6 months so that way they're constantly forced to keep having to pay, and maybe during those increments there's price changes or it makes people want to go online and see what other options there are, and they'll end up spending more.
Sure. Because
then, if like for a whole year you're about that, then you're not really online looking at it. It basically doesn't have you engage as much. But I think because they're forcing you to keep reapplying every 6 months or whatever the new standard increment will be, I bet it's a marketing scheme to make you go on their online store or go wherever, and then it just kind of make you more engaged, and then you'll find something that you want to buy or purchase, or a different online plan if there are like different plans that are available. And just me thinking out loud,
I could even see a little nefariousness here with maybe they're actually just going to increase the price of online, and instead of just showing it out in a year form, they'll have the 6-month version, which will be $60, and you're like, hey, that's actually more than what it used to cost, because it used to be a year was $60, you know? But again, what the article was saying, maybe they're going to add more features, especially they're going to have this Game Pass just in subscription, which is like their Netflix of video games, so to say. So I don't know. Yeah. So another thing that Microsoft is deciding to discontinue, this one makes a little bit more sense. Xbox One X and Xbox One S Digital Edition will no longer be manufactured. Microsoft has announced that in its lead up to the Xbox Series X, the company will cease production on the Xbox One X and the Xbox One S All Digital Edition. The standard Xbox One S will still be manufactured and available for purchase. That's actually really interesting, pointing that part out.
So the Xbox One S, which is the higher definition version,
nope,
will still be available, right?
The Xbox One X is the 4K higher edition version, Xbox One S is like the slim version of the original Xbox.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So they're only going to be having
That.
I guess so it'll just be the slimmer and more, like the one that's easier to manufacture, obviously. So they just
right. I guess that's the whole point of it. It's just the easier one to manufacture.
Yeah. Well, I think it's because they know the Xbox One basically is probably at its like. I just don't think it's anymore. Yeah, it's at the end of its life cycle. Everyone's focusing on the Series X. So, yeah, I mean, I guess I can understand that. It's kind of like when Nintendo stopped making the Wii U. They're like, look, all eyes are on the Switch. Let's just forget it. Just cut our losses and stop making Wii U's. That's just the simple answer, I think.
I just think it's really odd that they're like, we're still going to make the Xbox One S, but we're not going to make the all-digital version, because at the end of the day, the only thing they're taking out is a hard drive. Does that actually cost more money somehow or more labor?
Oh, actually, what's funny? You're right.
That's weird.
Because you would think the One S would be cheaper to manufacture. Right. Huh.
Well, the One S all-digital. The Xbox One... Thank you, Microsoft, for having a very easy naming scheme.
Best naming scheme of all time. Yeah,
Xbox One S, all digital, otherwise known as Xbox One SAD, is being discontinued, while Xbox One S, which again is just a slim version of the Xbox One, will continue on.
Gotcha. Okay.
And again, even weirder, you would think maybe they would just continue Xbox One X, because that's the high-end version, so you'd be like, oh, okay. Yeah, keep that one, because that's like the quote-unquote best version of an Xbox One.
Yeah.
This isn't really a head-scratcher.
Okay, now I'm sorry. I guess I was confusing myself, but now I see exactly. Okay. Now I see exactly.
It's very confusing, actually.
Yeah. Again, Microsoft, whoever you hired to name your consoles, I'm sure you gave him a promotion because you just don't know what you want. But like, you should have fired the guy. But I'm sure you gave him a promotion and a free house.
Guys. All you had to do was copy Sony, all right? You could have just called it the Xbox 2, the Xbox 3. The only reason they didn't do that is because they were scared that during their second generation, the Xbox 2 was going to underperform against the PlayStation 3 because 2 is a lower number than 3.
They should
literally like gorilla brain logic. Like, what the hell?
I'll be honest, I can kind of understand that. They don't want to always be behind the PS. The PlayStation console. I say they I'll make this brief. They should have stuck with the 360 logic. 720 could have been the next console. I think
I agree.
It would have been perfect. 720, cool.
I mean, I'll call myself out right now and say that my phone right here I'm holding, Samsung, also didn't do a good job, because they went right from the Galaxy 10 to the Galaxy 20. Because again, 20 is a bigger number than the iPhone 11, which is the newer. It's so dumb. I hate it. Personally, I hate it. It's stupid. Yeah. You can just name it the number. It doesn't matter. Oh, bigger number must be better. I bought this Galaxy 20 because I like Never mind. Yeah. Never mind. Move on.
And with that logic, they went back to 1.
Exactly.
For Xbox, if we're talking about, like, so, gosh, idiots.
Speaking of Xbox, we still got one more story from them. We love them.
Oh,
Xbox Game Pass Ultimate adding Project xCloud support in September. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscriptions will include support for Project xCloud game streaming service for this September. Announced by head of Xbox Phil Spencer in a blog post, Game Pass Ultimate members will automatically be entitled to Project xCloud services at no extra cost. It means subscribers can play over 100 included titles on phones and tablets, including the upcoming Halo Infinite, upon its release. xCloud game streaming includes cross-saving, meaning you can theoretically play Halo Infinite on a console at home and pick it back up on your mobile device elsewhere. This is actually a good story for Microsoft. That's really cool.
Yeah, this is them basically trying to... Well, they started this first. They're kind of just perfecting the whole streaming software.
Remote play, if you will.
Yeah, like the what the Google Stadia was trying to do. This is just them filling in on what they started. The Game Pass, which I think is cool.
Game Pass is actually an excellent service. I highly support that. They always keep adding like great games to that, and like the article points out, they always put all their first party games on there. So if you have Game Pass, You can play Halo Infinite day one, which is really cool. Or any first-party Microsoft game. Like last week, we talked about that new Rare game. What is it called? Everwild. When that comes out, you'll be able to play that on if you have Game Pass right away. And Game Pass is like a Netflix, so it's only like a few bucks a month. Well, whatever a few bucks is, it might be like 10. I don't know. But yeah, you just have like access, and you download them. It's not like streaming, so you can download Halo Infinite on your Series X from Game Pass, and then you don't have to be connected online. So if you just want to play whatever the single player mode is, you can just do that, which is pretty nice. Maybe it locks after a few months. I don't know the specifics, but yeah, it's a cool service regardless. Moving on though, that's just a cool story. That'll be neat. So I'll preface this and say I do not, and nor have I ever played No Man's Sky, but I thought this was neat. And shout out to No Man's Sky for still getting updates. No Man's Sky Desolation, horror-themed free update revealed. Hello Games has revealed No Man's Sky Desolation, an upcoming horror-themed free update that adds abandoned freighters filled with salvage and alien threats, and it's out now. Desolation will drop abandoned freighters across the game's galaxy. Players can choose to breach their airlocks alone or in co-op and explore what awaits inside. Freighters' interiors will be periodically generated and include both handwritten and generated ship logs that tell stories of how they came to be derelict. As someone who's a big fan of like Dead Space, like this future horror type game thing like this, I support it and think it looks cool.
Interesting. Yeah, I also can't say I've ever played No Man's Sky, but I've heard good things. So maybe one day I'll watch it.
Yeah. And it is now time that we move into our Nintendo portion of the podcast here at Level With Me. The overall, not just the podcast, we love Nintendo, so we always give them a good chunk of stuff at the end. I guess granted or asterisks if they have stuff to actually talk about. Speaking of things not to talk about, let's talk about today's Nintendo Direct Mini.
I watched it, and let me start by saying this: people should know what they were getting themselves into. They announced it as a mini. They announced it as the partner showcase. So I think it's hysterical. People were actually mad that there's no information on the next Mario Odyssey, or any new Mario. No information on Breath of the Wild 2, etc., etc. I think you should have seen that coming. This was just an announcement for the third-party stuff. But anyway, back to the topic.
I actually, before we get into what they announced, I want to challenge that on you and say,
okay.
I am kind of mad. And I'll tell you why the reason I'm mad is, when is Nintendo going to have an actual Direct then, where they're going to show off what's coming out later this year? Like, we have like no data on what they're coming out. Like, what is it, Bakugan? I made the joke. Is that the big title of the holiday season? What is it? How long are they going to wait to show us whatever's coming out later this year? We have no idea now that Paper Mario Origami King, came out already. Now we have nothing. Yeah. Okay? That's all.
Right, 2 points. First point, 3 words. Meatball, pizza, simulator.
Oh, man. Yes. I thought you were going to say Meatball Pizza Smash. Like, that's the next character.
Yeah. So, well, that was point number 2. Anyway, but point number 2 is, yeah, I do agree that this is the longest Nintendo Direct drought we've had. I think this actually does break record. This is the longest one we've had. I do think we could obviously put COVID as one of the main reasons why.
Absolutely, yes.
But yes, Corey, I do agree that the second half of this year is it's not only having a direct drought, but like game wise, yeah, we have no information on things. Whether they're doing shadow drops like on Twitter. Oh, by the way, here's the trailer for the next Paper Mario.
Here's a new Pokemon Snap.
Yeah, and by the way, well, yeah, that
was a little different, but
yeah, that was cool. And I don't think we know when that's coming out. But like the Paper Mario is kind of strange, where it's like, oh, hey, here, by the way, and a new Paper Mario is big. That's big, you know. And it's like, oh, here, new Paper Mario. By the way, it's available in 3 weeks. What? Like how is that? Like, how can you do that? But yeah, I do agree that like there's so many questions. so many games that are known to be in the works that we're anticipating, and we still have no information on them.
The Mario 3D collection, is that real or fake? Can we just get a confirm?
Yeah.
Quit tugging at my heart.
Yeah, I'm not even going to begin to talk about the Metroid stuff. But then we also have, again, the new Zelda game, maybe another 2D Zelda game. Who knows? Bayonetta 3.
F-Zero.
Yes.
Where is
Heroes 3. The legendary Retro Studios title, that's not Metroid, is supposedly been in the works since after Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. I'm starting to think that was just scrapped.
Yeah.
Because, and people were rumoring that, oh no, it's not the F-Zero, the Star Fox Racing game. That was the big rumor.
Oh yeah.
I truly think that was just a rumor, and it never happened. And whatever game that they were, I hate saying this, I think whatever game that they were working on after Donkey Kong was just scrapped. It has to be. How can you go this long without working on a game? And then now they're working on Prime 4. Cool, but I really want to think it's not like I think a small portion of their studio is still trying to wrap up and polish up this game that they've been working on for the last 6 or 7 years. I really just think that there's nothing. And again, a direct can help answer all that, and we haven't had one since last November. Well, I gotta look up when.
I would say the closest thing was the direct that what was it called, a mini direct, the one where they announced we'll reveal the ARMS character at this date. There was a bunch of different. I think that's when they revealed the Xenoblade release date. There was kind of I forget when that came out. I assume in April or sometime in May.
There was a mini in March on March 26th.
It was the one that they just uploaded. That was an hour or a half hour, and it had a bunch of different Nintendo news. Where it's okay, well, this is games that they're working on, but
I'm honestly not quite sure. But apparently, according to this, the last official Nintendo Direct was in September of last year.
There you go.
September 4th.
There you go.
That is a drought. I mean, we've had the Animal Crossing Direct, the Pokemon Directs.
Yeah, right. Theme Directs, just not a general one.
Yeah, with all the big bombshell drop, well, here's all the big games and all the big IPs, the surprises. Yep, we haven't had one of those since September. So 10 months. Wait, 10 months.
And I am sad. I'm sad and frustrated, like many people are. But I do think at the end of the day, a lot of these problems are just due to the pandemic that's going on. Because you can see this throughout all the video games industry. This isn't just a Nintendo problem. They still haven't revealed the new Call of Duty yet. And usually a new Call of Duty comes out every November. And it's almost August. And we still don't know what that looks like.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk has been delayed a lot. I mean, CD Projekt Red always delays their games a lot. We still don't even know the price of the consoles, and I believe that's been revealed before now in previous years, I think. I mean, they usually hold off on them really late. But yeah, I think the pandemic is generally what's affecting a lot of these releases and trailers and stuff like that. I know Nintendo. They just want to make sure when they show it, it's really going to wow us. They got to make sure every hair and sparkle is just right. So when I see that, I almost want to cry because I'm so happy. So I get it. I
do. But then it kind of makes you feel, then why did you bother with one of these minis?
They just, sorry to cut you off, but they just shouldn't have said anything. All these announcements could have just came out by the developers. Honestly, the most important one to me is probably the Shin Megami Tensei thing, but that speaks nothing to me because I've never played one of those games. Yeah. I know people love them, but
no, I agree. These are the ones that could have been the Twitter updates. Hey guys, by the way, here's some cool updates we're working on.
The Cadence of Hyrule stuff is cool. All that DLC, and it's getting a physical edition. I'm probably going to buy that because I haven't played that game yet.
Yeah, but did they need a direct for that?
No,
I don't think so.
Should we actually talk about what they announced?
No.
All right, let's go.
No, I'm just gonna go grab some peanut butter and fill the cracks of my heart up with peanut butter.
But yes, the Nintendo Direct Mini that came out today was I think it was only 8 minutes long.
It was about 8 minutes and change. Yep.
There were 4, I guess technically 5 games showed off here. Most of which we all knew about. I think literally the only new announcement was that Shin Megami Tensei 3 HD remaster. But anyways, Cadence of Hyrule, that was a big deal when it came out. You know, it was the first indie game that Nintendo like crossed over with and allowed their property to be used in a way. That's neat. Well, it's getting a bunch of DLC, and like I said, there's going to be a physical release that I believe. I don't know when it comes out, but there will be a physical release probably later this year with all the DLC included. The DLC, one's like a full expansion, one's like a bunch of new characters you can play as, and there was another one that I can't remember. But that's pretty neat, although I haven't played that game. Rogue Company, this is like a third-person shooter. I honestly can't really say what else. Like, I don't really know what the gist of this game, like, that sets it apart. It's a third-person shooter that looks pretty good. That's on the Switch. I guess that's the notable thing about it, because besides Fortnite, I don't really know any, and Splatoon, I guess, there isn't really that many good third-person shooters on the Switch.
Yeah, I can't think of any besides those.
It looks interesting, honestly. I think it looks interesting.
Oh yeah, like gameplay-wise, like them showing off how it runs, it looked great. But this is not what captivates me, I guess.
Precisely, yeah. There was some WWE, I don't know, the Battlegrounds, whatever that is. Sure, John Cena. Do. Okay, we both did it. And then last but not least, I would say the most notable things were the Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne HD remaster. Again, I know nothing about this series other than it's related to Persona. Like they're similar or share like the same gameplay. I don't know. I've heard of it like you just said, but I don't know anything about it. I believe this remaster, did they give a release for this? It's also coming out on PS4, the HD remaster. Will be released in the same year. Okay, so I think both of these games are coming out next year. So the Shin Megami Tensei 3 remaster and Shin Megami Tensei 5. Shin Megami Tensei 5 being a exclusive on Nintendo Switch, which is the, I guess, bigger deal. Yeah, overall pretty lackluster for me.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I mean, I wish I could say I was more excited for this. I was just excited to hear that we're getting a direct mini, and then I was, as I watched it during like my lunch break, I was disappointed because there was nothing that really captivated me. Even the Zelda game, I like Zelda, but the cadence of Hyrule was not really for me.
I don't really know what to say at this point. You know, I feel like we had back-to-back two very like disappointing announcements like this. With the Bakugan thing a week or two ago, and this,
yeah,
like it's kind of like a little sad. Like I hope Nintendo is seeing the reaction, because I believe on the YouTube of this, or the YouTube video of this Direct, it has very many dislikes, probably more than its likes. I kind of want to look it up right now and see what.
I
was gonna do that. We can get a live. It's that poorly. But yeah, I hope they'll see this and be like, okay, people actually want, you know.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right, so apparently on the official Nintendo YouTube, at the very least, 78,000 likes, but 63,000 dislikes. So it's there's more likes and dislikes, but it's pretty close, and that's a very big negative feedback from this Direct.
Also, interesting to point out, kind of what we were saying before about like COVID and the pandemic having a big take on all this. Nintendo does like say right in the beginning of the video, like there's a note that's like, hey, all these releases could be affected by COVID-19, and their hearts go out to anyone affected by it. So, you know, they're kind of being a little transparent. Like, we know this isn't that stuff, but I don't know. I think what would be a kind of a good note that Nintendo could do is hopefully somewhat soon they could be like, hey, we're going to have a proper direct. Maybe even just give a month. Like if they would be like, hey, in August, there'll be a proper direct. And I think everyone could be like, okay, all right. Maybe. I don't know. They don't really do that, though. They're more like, hey, in 2 days, there'll be a direct.
Yeah, I know. And this one was like, what, in like 8 hours? Or less than 12 hours from announcement. By the way, guys, Nintendo Direct Mini. And you're like, what? And it's going to happen this morning, and then, yeah, a lot of things compiling on top of each other that really made this very lackluster and disappointing direct.
I
Whether it be a mini or a full one, it doesn't matter.
I can't tell. Are we just like spoiled? Did we just expect more? Because like they could have literally just said nothing, but they did make a direct. Granted, that direct didn't need to exist, but I don't know.
I think ultimately we do have to kind of. I'm sure like when the podcast is over, I'm going to be like, yeah, you know what, I really should be mad. I mean, I think it's you're perfectly allowed in your own. Like you're allowed to be disappointed. You are perfectly allowed. I'm not going to be on the one bashing Nintendo, saying, "Oh, why you do that?" Like this is just you and me talking to each other as like fans. But like I get more bummed when people like then start bashing Nintendo and like for example, I didn't read any of the comments, but like writing all the negative comments and like trying to act like, "Oh, Nintendo, like what are you doing? You guys suck." That's where it's like the guys stop. At least at the very least, they're at least being vocal in some way. Because you're right, they didn't have to do anything, and maybe from our point of view, they're better off not doing this and just doing like a Twitter update. But the point is, yeah, like you'll never see me actually getting frustrated and then like verbally attack Nintendo because of this. That's kind of my thing.
Sure, yeah, I feel the same way. I'm sad, but yeah, I'm not gonna go out my way and be like, I hate you guys. I'm cutting my Switch in half. It's like, no, what?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, what are you gonna do? Throw your Switch away? Like, no, you're not. You're just gonna
suck it up and wait.
Yeah, you're suck it up and wait, and then you're gonna go buy more indie games on the virtual console or not the virtual console. Like, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it is.
Boy, we know that's true. I definitely didn't buy 2 indie games that were on sale this weekend.
Liar.
Somewhat related to Nintendo. Reggie Fils-Aimé, you remember this guy? You ever heard about this guy?
Oh, the Reginator? Yeah, of course I know that guy.
So he's been appointed to Rogue Games as advisor, joining ex-Sony president Jack Tretton. So I actually, maybe I will say this in the article, I don't know if that means he like completely left that position he had at GameStop, because he was like, I think, in one of the higher ups at the board there. But I'm gonna assume that that means that he's not a part of that anymore. I would think that's how that works. Regardless, publisher Rogue Games has appointed ex-Nintendo of America president Reggie Fils-Aimé as a strategic advisor to its board, just a month after it appointed ex-Sony Computer Entertainment America president Jack Tretton to a similar role. Announced in a press release, Fils-Aimé will serve as a strategic advisor to the board of directors. Rogue is currently actively moving into console publishing, and the ex-Nintendo executive will offer his expertise in that area. When Rogue shared its console vision with me and I saw the first games that will be arriving this summer on platforms like Nintendo Switch, I was immediately impressed by the level of ambition and innovation, said Reggie Fils-Aimé. I'm always on the lookout for fast-growing and innovative companies that are ready to shape the future of games, and I'm excited to join Rogue in their mission to unite and simplify games publishing across all platforms. All I have to say is if Rogue Games does not try to use Reggie in any of its marketing, they're missing out. They're squandering the resource that is Reggie Fils-Aimé.
The man, the myth, the legend.
I don't know any games that Rogue Games has made. Let me quickly Google them. This is not a diss at Rogue Games. I'm just uninformed. Let's see here.
That's awesome, man. I don't. Here's my fake gamer card. I really just not familiar with their works.
I'm on their website. I clicked on our games. Can't say I've heard of any of these. God, this is not looking good. Sorry, Rogue Games. I have no idea what you do. I hope don't you abuse Reggie. What if Reggie's just lying and they just gave him a big fat check?
He's you know what, Reggie's a sellout.
I mean, he did work at GameStop for a little bit. He could. Maybe they gave him a bad deal.
Or maybe he's just like, all right, you guys are screwed. Even I can't.
Reggie, you want to work here at GameStop? All we can give you is $6.19.
I hate being negative, but...
All right. We got 2 very brief Nintendo stories here. Literally, like, nothing stories. First of all, if you're like me and buy every amiibo imaginable, Persona 5's Joker and Dragon Quest XI's Hero Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Amiibo to be released in October 2020. That is October 2nd, 2020. And go pre-order those so you don't have to deal with scalpers. That's all I have to say on that. I already pre-ordered them because I'm a madman. Give Nintendo all that dollar for plastic toys I put in a box in a closet. Why?
I'm not even a big fan of the Joker character, but like I will admit that is a really sick looking PA.
I love the little blue that they the blue flames that they have him stand on. Yeah, I will copy a joke that I saw on Twitter, which I totally have stolen, which is they've come a long way where there's that original Link amiibo where he's just on like a piece of yellow plastic, and now Joker is literally standing on this cool big blue flame to hold him up.
Yeah, it's funny. It's kind of hit and miss. Like right now, I'm looking at my Dark Samus amiibo, which I love, by the way. It's something similar. You think they could have used like some blue, like something similar to the Joker, like the blue Phazon that Dark Samus is all about. But no, it's just like a little like clear plastic thing holding her up. And I mean, yes, it is better than the yellow dust cloud, as I think people have called it for Link. It's just comical. But yeah, I do like how they are making like the amiibo. It's not just a figure; it can be like like an aura or like a flame that kind of just helps it stand up. And I think it works very well.
Also, I'll give shout outs to the Hero amiibo. It's very well detailed. It looks cool. Thank goodness they're actually not making 4 different amiibo for each of the hero, different characters.
Can you imagine that? That would have been a savage fest. People trying to get all.
I would have bought them all too.
It would have been yes. It would have been a very good marketing scheme by Nintendo, and I just watch it. Just watch it. I bet they're going to release them. The next thing they'll do is they'll release all the Koopa Kids as the Bowser Jr. Clones or Echo Fighters. I mean, honestly, to be honest, I would love to get all the Koopa Kids as an amiibo. That would be actually kind of cool.
Quiet, you.
I'm just being honest. I think you can agree with me.
That was like a year or two ago where my friends, they knew that I bought every Smash amiibo, and there was I think someone made a fake article where they were going to make alternate costumes, so they had Mario in his flower outfit, they had Link in the red or blue tunic, and I'm like, God, no, I'm not buying every amiibo again just in a different costume. Luckily, that was all fake.
Maybe it was if they're different costumes but different poses, it'd be at least it looks different. Then
right, kind of like in Melee when you beat All-Star mode, and they actually did that. I do say I wouldn't have bought them in different costumes, but I'm also the guy sitting here with my Player 2 version of Cloud and Corrin and Bayonetta downstairs.
And your Hank Hill figure.
Also my Rob, that's the 2 different, the Famicom and the NES Rob. I digress. Last but not least here, very important. Mario Kart Tour finally adds landscape mode. You can hold your phone sideways and play Mario Kart. You probably would want to anyway.
It's probably how it should have been, just to give you a better visual.
You know what? I'm actually tempted to download that on my new phone because I bet that game will look really nice. And I actually did like Mario Kart Tour. It's an okay Mario Kart game. Not my favorite. It's okay. Yeah. It's okay.
My brothers have it, and I watch them play it. I'm like, you know what? It looks like a lot of fun, but I don't know. I just didn't get into the craze of it. I love Mario Kart, but I just didn't need a phone game for it, But I'll admit, it looks like it's very well done.
Hey, you know what? There's also a lot of microtransactions in that game.
Oh, quickly, let's go buy everything and spend all my money.
Okay, actually not microtransactions. I'm saying the wrong word here. There's a lot of loot boxes in that game. Because, literally every month, they're like, hey, here's Cat Mario. Only problem, you got to roll Cat Mario out of the pipes. That was their loot box. It was like a pipe. And out of 100, you'll get maybe one of the rare drops, which would be one of the characters that are already in the game, but literally just a different costume. Yeah. And maybe it tweaks the stats or something. I forget.
I think my brother, this is months ago when when this is getting really popular, he showed me oh yeah, here's all, because they had the stats for the drop rates. And some of them were
horrible.
Abysmal. Yeah. In any typical loot box fashion, but I just laughed so these are the good characters. Like, I think Dry Bowser was like... It looked
literally, cool. One of the first drops was Pauline, which hasn't even been in a Mario Kart game. So it's like, hey, you want the new character? You got to get her out of a drop. Like, fuck off.
Yeah. That's phone games for you guys.
Yep. Gotta love it. That's all for the news. Yikes.
I'm so salty now from all this talk about loot boxes.
We are now going to move into our second half of the podcast where we talk about what we did over our weeks, what we played, what we watched. Mike, you said you had a pretty eventful week, so is it all right if I go first? Because I feel like I didn't really do and play too much.
If you're okay with going first, yeah, go right ahead, man.
All right. So, like I said, this weekend, it might have been from just like the issues I was having with my PC, but I really wanted to sit down and I want to just play through all of The Last of Us Part 2. I want to get really far in that game because I literally haven't played for probably like a week or two. I think I kind of had a spiel like this before. I think I just got a little distracted by other games, and also I was worried about, not being able to record my content. So I don't know. I unfortunately didn't have any time to play more Remnant or Last of Us Part 2. But anyways, I'll get to my games. I actually have some stuff I watched I want to talk about real quick here. So I started watching this cooking show on Hulu titled Buddy vs. Duff. Now, if you guys are unfamiliar with cooking shows, there have always been the two quintessential titans of cakes. And that is, I believe his name is it? It's not, hang on, let me look it up. I was going to say, hang on. Let me
Guy
see.
Fieri.
There we go. Yes, I was right. Duff Goldman. He is known for the show Ace of Cakes, which I also believe is his cake shop in Maryland, or Baltimore, Maryland, excuse me. And then, oh my God, I don't know the last name of Buddy. But he's like the cake boss, and he has like a bunch of, like his place is more like franchise. Like I think it started in like New York or New Jersey. He's like a very Italian traditional bakery, but he kind of like blew it up. And he also makes both of them make like these outrageous like big cakes where they're like the size of a house, and you can actually walk in and there's like a working microwave, but it's all made out of cake. They do crazy stuff like that. Not really. Yeah. I'm over exaggerating. But the point is, I've always liked watching their two shows. And I think they did this like a year ago where they had like them go head to head. And this is like this competition show where basically both of them have to do various different challenges. The first one, they generally bake or cook something. And then the second part is that they have to build some sort of cake depending on what the theme is. Like the first episode, I think, is based on cars. So like they each have to make like a car cake. But it's a pretty good show. I'm not fully done with it. It's very short, though. It's only like 6 or something episodes, and they're only like half an hour each. But I enjoy it. I like both of their personalities. Buddy's kind of like the traditional like Italian guy. He's also very cocky. He's kind of like the heel of the show, if you will. While Duff is more of like a down to earth, like artsy, kind of lovable guy. I feel like he's almost the underdog. You're kind of cheering for him. Even though he's not like, I'm not saying he's not talented. They're both very talented, but I don't know. I just kind of like Duff a little bit more. I'm Duff. I'm Team Duff. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, this show is it's pretty good. I also want to point out that it has like the most boring announcer, or what's the word? Like the person who like that like voice that talks over shows where it's like, okay, Buddy and Duff are now about to bake cakes. What's the word? What would you call the name? Commentator. Yeah. Perfect. There we go. Yeah. One of the most boring commentators I've ever heard. Like, there's no enthusiasm. He's literally reading this so deadpan. Like, Buddy and Duff are about to bake cakes. They're in their bakery. Watch them bake and design their cake. Oh, no. Buddy just dropped his cake all over the floor.
It's a shame because that could just take away from the entire show, Like him having more of a personality could probably really uplift the entire show as a whole,
Also, this might be me, but you can clearly like there's a lot of moments in the show where it seems like they're very artificial, like they're not that natural. Like, especially the beginning of the show where they're like talking and they're like, okay, we're going to do this competition. And it's like, come on, guys. We know this was planned out for months. You guys had to sign paperwork that you're going to make this show. Quit making it seem like they just
spur of the moment.
Yeah, like, oh, let's do this wacky competition. It's like, no. That's not how this works, okay? A lot of it honestly seems very bland. Like, besides the actual two guys, like, competing and their personalities, everything around it is just very bland. Even just the title of the show is literally just, I think, like, Buddy's name is orange and Duff's is blue, like the logo. It doesn't even, like, it's not that enticing. I'm honestly just watching the show for both of them. Like, everything around it is, like, just very, like, boring and dull, in my opinion. But it is a baking show, so, you know, it is what it is. I enjoy it, though. Other than that, I watched 2 movies this week. I watched Bad Boys 2. So I forget if I talked about this on my podcast before, but months ago, my mom came over and I want to say it was earlier this year because she was talking about the new Bad Boys movie, which is, I think, called Bad Boys for Life. And I told her that I never watched any of those movies. So she's like, oh, we got to watch them all, and then we can go see Bad Boys for Life. This was at the beginning of the year because I remember she wanted to see it in theaters when, you know, a movie theater was a thing you could go to. Anyways.
Good times.
We watched the first one. And like I said, it's been months, and I finally invited her back over. I'm like, hey, you want to, like, come hang out and we could, you know, watch a movie? And she's like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, why don't we continue watching Bad Boys? Because at this point, you can get Bad Boys for Life. Like, I can stream it. So I'm like, well, we can just watch them all now. So, you know, we're all good. So I watched this movie, and I will preface this before I start, like, going into detail about this movie. I might have been a little distracted watching this movie, playing with my new phone and setting it up. So there's like literally a half an hour chunk where I actually don't really remember what really happened. And funny enough, it was near the end of the movie. I do remember how it ends though, but regardless, my mom also was touting this as being her favorite one of these, even though she hasn't seen the new one. But anyways, it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I can't really tell if I enjoyed this one more than the first one. The first one was pretty funny, but it's kind of the same deal, you know. It's Martin Lawrence, is that his name?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to get these actors messed up like last week, and obviously Will Smith. I can't mess up Will Smith, but yeah, they're, you know, buddy cops. There's a great scene in the beginning of the movie with like them joining up with like the Navy, and they're like taking down this gang of Ku Klux Klan members.
Damn.
It's hilarious. It actually holds up well, even though you would be like, oh, that's a little dicey, but it's funny. But the main thing here is, oh my gosh, what was the first movie about? Like the main villain. I think he was just like, he was trying to like rob like a bank, or he was a big like money, something with like robbing a bank or something. But in this movie, there's like a very typical drug cartel leader who is clearly from like Cuba or somewhere in the Dominican Republic. Like, it's like, oh yeah, that's totally like not Tony Montana, you know, you getting that gist? And they're basically trying to take down this guy, and all sorts of insanity ensues. Martin Lawrence's character's sister arrives, and of course Will Smith, he's like this playboy guy, so him and her had a thing, and you know, that's all funny. Ha ha ha. I liked the movie though. I thought it was pretty good. Again, though, I was very in and out of it, just playing around on my phone and watching it, but it's funny. I enjoyed it. There was I don't know. I don't really have much else to say about it. It was good. There was a lot of them quoting Bad Boys for Life, like that's like their motto, and I'm like, oh, that's how they got the name of the last movie. I'm like, that's their motto, I guess. I also just love pointing out whenever a movie says like the name of its title, because I'm like, oh, they did it, guys.
The name drop. Oh.
But yes, the other movie I watched was Be Kind, Rewind, and this is a movie starring Jack Black. And I actually don't know the name of the other actor. Let me look it up quick. But basically, the whole gist of the movie is Jack Black gets himself into some shenanigans and becomes magnetized and wipes all of these VHS tapes that the other character, like his father figure owns the store, and he's supposed to watch it for the week. But yeah, all the movies get wiped, and people come in to like, rent the movies, but they don't want to. He doesn't want the people to realize that they've all been wiped and that he's messed up and somehow they all got destroyed. So this guy and Jack Black's character basically recreate all these classic movies with just like a camcorder. Like they just film themselves. And they almost I
actually never saw the movie before, but I've always wanted to watch it. So that sounds really funny.
They kind of like almost do like a very abridged version of the movie. Like they literally say, like they shoot the first Ghostbusters and they're like, it's only 20 minutes long. And they're like, oh, we just did the important scenes, like the Stay Puft scene. They do remake that, and like it's a pretty good movie. I think it's a little slow. It's not as funny as I feel like the trailers made it out to be. It's a little bit more like genuine, but I did like it. Like I said, it's a lot about this theater or this store itself, like the owner. And there's like a lot of history behind it. There's like this character who like grew up there, and it's a lot about like community too, because like this movie rental store is in like this kind of lower end part of town, and it's not thriving very well. There's literally the like opposing movie rental place, which is called West Coast Hollywood. Who knows what that's supposed to be, right? Not Hollywood Video, clearly. But yeah, it's a good movie. Like I said, they basically like do these short like abridged versions of movies, and they're basically making all the props out of things that you would find in like a junkyard. So like their suits that they wear in Ghostbusters are just like a bunch of aluminum foil like taped all around them, and they make like fake like the beams with like just tinsel. And it's actually pretty funny because like when they're filming like the first bit of Ghostbusters that's in a library, they just go to like a public library and are almost like doing like a bit like in the library, as like all the normal people are like, what the hell are these guys doing, as they're like pretending to be like Bill Murray and all the characters. They only have, it's literally like 3 people. It's like the guy's son, the Jack Black's character, and then like their one friend, and they play like all the characters. So that's pretty funny. And they do a bunch of other like very popular, it's like movies I'd say like in the early to mid 90s and later. There's like a part where Jack Black dresses up like a RoboCop type guy and pretends to be RoboCop. It was... I'm not going to say this movie was very good. I mean, I've heard about it and I always wanted to watch it, but I can kind of see why no one really talks about this movie that much. So I guess I just want to say lower your expectations if you see this movie. It's not Jack Black's best movie, but I enjoyed it. I will say this though. I did feel really bad after watching this movie because I was the one who wanted to watch this. Like me and my girlfriend watched it, and she hated it. She was like, I was so bored throughout the whole movie. And I'm like, oh, I hate picking the boring movie. I'm like, damn it, I wanted a movie that we could both enjoy because she loves Jack Black. So do I. But I was just like, oh man, you didn't like it. That's a shame.
Well, it happens. Sometimes you get those movies that are just a little disappointing, but hey, there's always next movie night. So.
Yeah. I can say like, oh, I watched it, That's all I watched though, regardless. Let's talk about some video games. So I mentioned earlier that I got a new phone and I actually dipped into playing some mobile games. I've been hearing about this Call of Duty mobile for some time now. And I even know one of our friends who would stream this game. He would cheat the system and play an emulated version on his PC so he could use his mouse and keyboard or a controller or whatever. But regardless, I played some of that there, Call of Duty Mobile, on my new smartphone. It's Call of Duty on the go. I mean, you have you can make a class, you got your guns, your grenades, your perks, your kill streaks, all running smoothly on my crisp 6.2-inch screen. I'm a bit indifferent on the controls here. I prefer having like tactile buttons. I don't really enjoy using just the screen. So it's a little weird, but at the same time, it does control pretty well once you get the sensitivity just right. And there's a lot of options to like even change like stick placement, what kind of stuff you want on the screen. There's actually a lot of like settings in here. I was quite shocked. But it does have as much depth and content as you would expect out of a current Call of Duty game. It has, traditional multiplayer and battle royale. I haven't played the battle royale yet. You can start playing it at a certain level, but I haven't reached that yet. But with the regular multiplayer, it's fun. It's kind of like the best of in terms of like the Call of Duty content. So like you're getting a lot of fan favorite weapons, very generic stuff like the M16 and the AK. There's even some very like specific picks from like certain Call of Duty games. Same thing with the maps and even characters, like they're just pulled out of like the series like favorites. Like you can be Ghost, you can be Price, and like the maps like Nuketown's in there. Like pretty much all the major like fan favorite maps. So I think that's kind of neat how it's almost like they're picking just like the best things and putting it into here. The aesthetic kind of looks like Black Ops 2, like kind of slightly futuristic. And like I said, it does look really nice on my phone. Like I said, I had the newest like Samsung Galaxy S20, so that could be why. I even going back to the settings, I adjusted it to. I think I have my frame rate like turned up really high, so it looks really smooth on my phone. I will say though, it does get it pretty hot after playing a few matches. But that's really all I do with it. Like if I just ever have like time to kill, like not that much time, and I never know what to do, I'll just open it on my phone and play like 1 or 2 matches. I'm not like addicted to this thing. Like I'm wasting all my time playing on it. Who knows? Maybe next week I'll be there. But right now I'm just enjoying it as a just free to play little distraction video game. It's fun. I also want to tease here that I'm looking into playing another mobile game. You can actually play this on PC as well. It is a online card game, and it's not Hearthstone. Look forward to that. I might do something with that in the future too.
Hearthstone's fun.
Like
I would highly recommend
or
it.
Something like that. Yeah. Because I actually, believe it or not, I was looking at like Yu-Gi-Oh cards on my Instagram feed, and I almost wanted to get back into Yu-Gi-Oh, but I'm like, that would be it'd be way too much work and pricey. So I'm like, I kind of want to play a card game, but I'm like, you know what?
What you can always get into. I'm sorry, really quick. If you want, you can just get back onto doing Yu-Gi-Oh online for free. Dueling Book is what the new thing is. Just in case you ever want to just get back into it.
I guess that's true. I never thought about that. But like this game that I'm looking into, I think it'd be really cool because, again, it would like sync so I could play it on my computer or on my phone, depending on where I'm at. I don't know if you can do that with Dual Book or not. I'm not familiar, but yeah, look forward to that. I'm eager to try this game out. Other than that's all for mobile gaming. I played some more Animal Crossing. I don't really have anything to say about that. Nothing changed there. I actually got back into playing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate online. It's been the first time I actually played online in a while. I think the last time I played was when I hung out with my one friend. But I actually had a blast playing against randoms and quick play. I still got it, creaming fools with Link and Elite Smash. It's a lot of fun. It feels good. Smash Online, though, is not a good way to practice. But it is a lot of fun, so I'm probably going to keep playing that. Maybe I'll even stream it. Who knows? Other than that, like I mentioned earlier, too, me and Abra over at Loudstone Entertainment, we got to record one episode of Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. Before we recorded, I actually was grinding to prepare us for our second battle with Lieutenant Surge, because if you guys haven't watched the episodes out now, we unfortunately lost. Our Pokemon weren't strong enough. Sad. And while I was grinding, a few of our Pokemon team evolved, and I even found a very cool little flaming lizard in the grass. That was pretty exciting. Also,
you found one in the grass?
I'll just say it, I found a Charmander in the grass.
That's awesome. I did not know that they were available in the grass. I thought you had to get them like by the train. Oh wow, that's actually really cool.
Yes, it was extremely cool. It's a shame I got him off camera, but yes, we have a Charmander now.
That is exciting.
Also, with all the grinding, In Pokemon Let's Go, you're not just battling Pokemon, you capture them. And depending on if you get like the excellent or the good, you get different experience bonuses. So essentially you just mass capture to grind in that game. And like the more rare the Pokemon is, and like if you catch it on the first like throw, the more experience you get. It's kind of a tedious way to grind compared to how typical, just the mini battles work in regular Pokemon games. But anyways, doing so, I filled up my Pokemon box, and I got probably at least like 80 Pokemon, even though they're mostly all like Pidgeys and Rattatats. But because I did that, I was able to meet certain qualifications, and I also acquired a small blue turtle. So that was pretty cool. A.K.A. one Squirtle. So now I have 2 of the 3 starters in our party.
You are making Red proud.
Yes, I am. And funny enough, when I got both of the Pokemon, they were also level 16. So 1 level in, which they both got. So they're instantly Charmeleon and Wartortle already. So there you go.
Nice.
Yeah. We're on our way to getting the main 3. We'll just have to find Bulbasaur somewhere. And last but not least about that Let's Play, we also found the Diglett Cave. That's it. And last but not least, and if you want to go see that part, you can check that out at Loudstone Entertainment. They're probably going to be uploading that relatively soon. Last but not least, I also played more of their Master Chief Collection. The multiplayer is still fantastic. I've been playing a lot of Halo 3, probably because it just launched on Steam. I think it came out last Tuesday. When you buy the Master Chief Collection on Steam, I think it's like $40, but that gives you access to all the games, and they're releasing them like periodically. So right now, I assume the next game they're going to release is Halo 3 ODST, but I don't think they've announced when that comes out yet. So I own Halo 3 ODST and Halo 4. I think that's the only 2 games they haven't released yet on PC. But whenever they come out, I'll just get them instantly. Anywho, Halo 3 multiplayer still holds up strong. Interestingly enough, Master Chief Collection has been one of the first-person shooters on PC that actually made me highly alter my sensitivity. I feel like nowadays, like, if I want to play a multiplayer shooter game, I go PC because I kind of like mouse and keyboard. Like, I'm very comfortable with that. And generally, when I play most games, I tweak them to almost all feel the same. But just how Halo's combat is, where it's very focused on getting headshots and being very precisely accurate, you really don't need your sensitivity, in my opinion, to be as quick and twitchy as a Call of Duty or maybe some other Battle Royale type game. So I actually had to heavily alter my sensitivity, make it way lower. And I can say I'm getting back into the swing of things. I definitely have thought about plugging in my 360 controller, but I'm like, no, I want to personally just get better with the mouse and keyboard. I think it's slightly more accurate and feels good. But yes, I've been really enjoying that. And Halo 3 is probably my second favorite Halo game. So it's been fun just going through all the DLC maps, in Halo 3. That game looks really good still, in my opinion, and it's a lot of fun. That's all I've been doing, though. That's my week.
Awesome. I mean, I'm always I'm not the biggest Halo fan, but I did love Halo 3. I played the heck out of Halo 3. So and that was just campaign mode, not even on the online stuff. So I can imagine that being really fun.
And I was thinking about like why, like, because literally all the matches I play, like in Halo Master Chief Collection, when you queue into the multiplayer, you can pick which games you want to play. So you could only play Halo Reach if you want, or you can only play Halo Combat Evolved if that's all you want to play. I generally put all the games in the queue because I'm like, party mode. I don't care what we get. It's all fun. But literally all my matches were just Halo 3. And I was confused. I'm like, I know that just came out, but like I'm surprised no one else is playing any other Halo games. And I feel like the thing is, though, I don't know anything about the numbers that Halo 3 sold, but that might have been one of the higher-up selling Halo games, like maybe of all time.
I think because initially it was that was the end of the trilogy.
Exactly.
Like no one thought they were going to make a second trilogy, so Halo 3 was super hyped up, and it was on the 360. And
it was the first Halo on the 360, yeah.
Yeah, and the 360, for all intents and purposes, was a great console.
Yes.
So, like, it was doing great. wow, the next Halo's coming out. It's going to complete the trilogy. We all want to see what happens to Cortana. Like everything was like, yeah, it was big. I mean, again, graphics were beautiful for the time it came out. Like it was, yeah. I love Halo 3. It was so good.
And God, I just get such good feels and nostalgia when I hold that Halo 3 battle rifle and I spawn in on Guardian or whatever map I'm playing on. And I'm like, oh yes, it's all coming back to me. And I don't know. I just love like the whole aesthetic of Halo. I love that announcer whenever you get a medal and you get the good double killing spree. I love all that. It's so cool.
Yeah, Slayer or whatever. Yeah, that guy.
Slayer. Yeah, I love it. That was my week. I'm having fun playing multiplayer games. Mike, what do you got?
All right. Well, to start off with things that I was watching this last week, I think I mentioned I was watching the Avatar show, Avatar: The Last Airbender. I'm back up this till last season, and you know, nothing out of the ordinary. The show is just as good as it always is. But more importantly, Amanda and I finally finished watching The Sopranos. This was like this is a long time coming. We were like kind of like off and on with the show, and then we were like watching it like every single night, and then we just kind of went cold turkey for a little while. I can't explain why. Maybe it was because it was during the move, and then we just kind of, since we haven't watched it in so long, we just never went back to watching it. But just finally, a couple days ago, we finally finished watching The Sopranos. And I have to say, we love the show, we love the characters, and I would highly recommend to anybody to watch it. It was really good. The cool thing is, because I knew about this from years ago when the show ended, because I wasn't watching it back in the 2000s when it was first on TV. But the show was infamous for being popular, and then of course when the series finale happened, it was and this is not really much of a spoiler. I'm sure people have heard of this. There was the infamous black screen of how the show ended.
I have heard of that.
Yeah, the show just ends with a black screen, and people were, it was again, good old divisiveness. People were thinking, like, oh, like what the heck was that? Or some people were trying to take it as symbolism and like, oh, I think this is what it means. And then, but wait a minute, it didn't answer some questions people might have had. There were loose ends, and admittedly, to try to make sure I'm not spoiling anything, yes, there were loose. In my opinion, there were some loose ends. Maybe that was intentional. Maybe that was to make you kind of think, hey, what could possibly have happened to some of these other important side characters that, you know, like you don't know, hey, are they still around? Are they still alive? Are they also, you know, because basically to wrap this, kind of summarize what the ending of the show is, all four of the Sopranos basically are at dinner. And like, well, technically the daughter walks into this restaurant, and the second she walks into the restaurant, Tony Soprano looks up, and this whole scene is coinciding with Journey's "Don't Stop Believing," and then when it gets to like that part of the song where it's like, you know, don't stop, and then like that little pause in the music, that's when the black screen comes up, and then it's like, and then the credits roll, and you're like, oh my gosh, like what happened? So it was pretty interesting because it kind of made me think, oh, I think maybe someone else walked into the restaurant. It wasn't the daughter. Like maybe they want you to think it was her. You know, all these theories that come up. I'm sure you can go on Google and YouTube and you can see all the Soprano theories of how the show ended. And I think it's kind of cool, that little bit of mystery. Although it kind of stings because you like the mystery of not knowing kind of sucks, especially when there's not even the main characters. The side characters are kind of like, you feel like they were forgotten. Again, they were like loose ends. Like what happened to them? But no, I think that little bit of mystery is kind of exciting. And then I learned recently, I think Amanda told me this a couple of weeks ago and I just forgot, but then she reminded me after we finished the show that they are making a Sopranos movie. I don't know if this is like a small little movie, like kind of like an extra long episode or something that's only going to appear online, or what's up? Is it a full-on movie? I'm sorry,
yeah, no, I heard about that. It's a full-on movie.
What was that, babe? Oh, I already told. Yeah, sorry about that. Amanda just kind of like was like, yeah, reinforcing. Yeah, the full movie, and unfortunately, of the entire cast, James Gandolfini has passed away since then. So his son is going to be playing him, and apparently it's going to be a younger version of him. So that's kind of how that's going to work.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's exciting because that, again, hey, maybe delve into more. Again, people kind of this is kind of like the crap you hear with Star Wars. People get mad like when they do these like, prequels, or they do these little in between side stories, or like why delve into this? We don't really need, like, some people were probably thinking like, hey, why not make the movie about what happens afterwards? Can you please complement the series finale, because that is where all the questions come from. And who knows, maybe they will address that. But as far as all we know, at least from what I've heard from Amanda, because I really didn't do a lot of research on it, it's going to be taking place potentially in when Tony Soprano was younger. So that's interesting, because obviously there's still a lot that we don't know about his childhood, or how he got into the family and into the family crime business. Like, obviously it was inherently going to happen. His father, against spoiler warning, his father was at one point like one of the major, like the crime boss of the crime family. So it was basically going to happen to him one way or the other. But like, it's interesting. I am really looking forward to this, whatever it comes out. So that's kind of neat. See,
that's cool.
Yeah. So that's mainly what I've been watching. And besides like The Office here and there, but The Office is always on in our household.
Oh yeah, it's great.
It's just on repeat, kind of just as like background sound. But as far as what I've been playing, I was very happy to get back into playing some more Metroid Zero Mission. We were doing our play a level with me for our Let's Play channel, and I'm just enjoying Zero Mission as much as I always do. Again, I hope Corey and all the other listeners and viewers are enjoying the Let's Play. You don't have to hear from me. I've said it many times how much I love that game. So that's good. I did get back into playing some Subnautica Below Zero, which I'm really excited about, because I finally figured out what might have been causing some of like my issues with the game. I think the biggest issue, I think I might have mentioned this before, but I think the biggest issue was I had two computer screens that weren't the same resolution, and I think that might have been causing some like slowdown. So right now, I only have the one computer screen, and I haven't really experienced any lag or anything. So I'm hoping that was what the issue was. Also, I'm recording the footage using OBS Studio and not Streamlabs. So I think Streamlabs was just crashing my computer. So recording's been. I mean, again, the last episode I recently uploaded, there was a few wonkiness in the very beginning of the episode, some lagging. So I had to compromise with that. But besides that, the game's running smoothly, and I have to admit, the game is. Once again, it's very immersive, and I'm getting really terrified because I've been finally exploring some more of this Arctic Ocean, and I got to the point where there are just cave systems everywhere. And I'm not a claustrophobic person, but the ocean scares me. So that's kind of like where, if I'm underwater in like a dark and cramped area, that's where I might get a little bit of claustrophobia. So this game definitely like that primal fear that's I think inherent in all of us really just emerges when I'm playing a game like this. Now, the one thing you guys might have seen when you're watching me play the game is they have a new feature in this game, which I think is great. It probably makes the game a little bit too easy. Is like in the very first Subnautica, if you went into a cave system, you only have a limited amount of air. Now you can upgrade your air tank so that way your air meter is increased, so that allows you to be underwater more for a longer amount of time. And you can even like build like air supply tanks to go to and everything to keep refilling your air tank if you ever have to get more air before you go back to the surface or back to your vehicle. But before you get a vehicle, which can obviously be like your infinite amount of air, you have to obviously you got to get back to the surface at some point. Now this game actually introduces air plants. They kind of look like little lily pads under the water that give you we've seen this many times in video games. Like, oh look, here's like the air bubble generator, it's in everything. So they have that in this game. Like, oh cool, so these little plants will generate you like a bubble of air. Oh, actually no, I'm sorry, I'm mistaken. The first one did have that. It wasn't like a continuous like, oh come over here for bubble. It was just like a kind of like a geyser underwater that give you air bubbles. I'm sorry, excuse me. That did exist in the first game. But regardless, these are now more abundant in some of these caves, and they're very visible because they have like bioluminescence. So like you always know where this plant is in these caves. So as you're exploring, you don't have to worry, like especially because I'm early in the game and I don't have a vehicle yet. I just have this little like handheld thing that it's kind of like so that lets me kind of like zip around the caves, and it has a light on it, whatever. But So these air plants let me continuously monitor these underwater caves as I'm exploring and mining for materials, and it's actually really a nice little innovation. And man, some of these caves, they're just dark and dank and scary. Like, and there's all this all this like crazy like vegetation that just it's like something out of like a horror, kind of like the game that you're playing right now, the Remnant from the Ashes.
Yeah.
Like a lot of like almost things that appear to be like veiny or vines, and it's like, oh, I just feel like these could attack you any second. And it's just a local, like, not fauna. The fauna are the animals, like just like the plants, the foliage or foliage, whatever. But the biggest thing was, and this is not much of a spoiler. You guys should go watch this episode. But for the next episode that I'm going to be uploading, because I recorded so much that I have 2 episodes coming up. In this one episode, I was in this area which is called the Twisting Bridges. It's kind of like a canyon, and there's like these coral-like structures that like loop around. They almost look like octopus tentacles, but they're just pieces of rock that like spiral around this canyon, and underneath them are little bioluminescent, like, I guess, little pieces of like algae or plant life, and it looks beautiful, especially in the nighttime because everything glows. And at the bottom of the canyon, I didn't realize, like, whoa, there's a crevice down here, like a trench. And so I don't have a vehicle yet. I just have my little like handheld like sea glide thing, and I'm thinking, well, here I have enough. There's an air plant right here. Let me go and just venture down here because the cool thing is the little sea glide thing does have it has a little miniature topography thing on top of it, so that way it kind of gives you like a layout of the land. And this is showing me that, wow, there is a cave system beneath. And I'm like, it's like scary just to know that. So I went down, and I'm like, wow, it gets really, really dark down here. Let me just go down here. I'll turn the light on my little sea glide thing. Let me see what's down in this trench. So I do that, and immediately the trench like illuminates with like a red glow or red aura all around it, kind of like as if, again, more bioluminescent like fish and plants are in this cave, and it's giving off like almost like a hell like red. It kind of makes me feel like I'm going to the center of the earth. It's really scary. And then I saw a black blob, of course, moving across this underwater trench, and it looks like a giant squid. And immediately I'm just like, nope. And I got out of that trench ASAP. I had to get out of there. So that's going to be in the next...
That sounds terrifying.
Yeah, I'm going to put it in the next episode. You guys will see that. In the most recent one they uploaded, like, again, this underwater, like, viney cave, which amazingly had the resources that I needed to get some more of my upgraded equipment. So luckily enough, I'm having a blast. I'm finally progressing through the game, and it kind of, because like the last like episode or whatever, I was kind of like just hanging out in that one area, the Twisting Bridges. But then once I started exploring and like going to the other local biomes, that's where like, oh cool, I find more wreckages and like little pieces of technology that I can pick up and like use for my own advantage. I found more material outcrops to gather more the proper materials I need. So I'm finally progressing in the game. It's a lot of fun. It's spooky, and that's all I can ask for a game like this. So I've been really enjoying it.
Cool, awesome, good to hear.
Yeah. And finally, I'll make this quick. I did play more of the Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. I didn't get to play much of it, but I did play a little bit of it last night. So I finally am at the point where, okay, I'm getting used to the controls, and I actually have now gone to the point where I'm used to the controls. I'm digging it. I'm now kind of like I mentioned before. I can kind of like understand when the game came out. I can put myself into the mindset of like a 1993 person and be like, yes, this game just came out. It's awesome. This is the best Zelda we've ever had, and I'm starting to experience that myself. Like I can understand that this is an old game, but man, I could just kind of like imagine all this, everything that I'm playing with or experiencing in this game. It's all in innovation. So I'm really digging the game right now. I like how there's a map. I like how the map has little icons that direct you in the right direction. Because I mean, I understand that a lot of people love the original games for being very difficult to navigate. Like those old games. I'm sorry, like for a modern gamer, I would never expect you to go and play The Legend of Zelda and just be like, oh yeah, I knew where I was going the whole time. Like, no, you don't.
They're very vague and obtuse.
Very. And that's just it's just an archaic game. So obviously, playing Link to the Past, my God, the map is, not only is the map just great, it's all a map needs to be, again, just adding these little landmarks, saying, "Oh, over here is where this one dungeon is. Oh, this one character said, here, go talk to this wizard over here. Here's an X on the map." It's like, all right, awesome. And then on the way there, I can run around. I can go travel and look around and talk to all the people I want in the town. I can go into the forest and try to gather more materials. And I've been finding heart pieces. I'm actually up to 5 hearts now, which is kind of what I wanted to get to before I go to the first dungeon. I just wanted to be a little bit more powered up. I now have bombs at my disposal. I have a lot of rupees, so it's like, all right, cool. I'm actually rocking and rolling. I'm not struggling just to get by. And I'm learning the game mechanics. I'm learning that if you talk to an NPC, they'll think, oh, wait a minute, you're that guy Link who kidnapped the princess, which is the propaganda that's going around the town. And then the guards will attack you. And I'm like, you know what? I love that little piece. And this is an old game, so I can only imagine that back in the early 90s, people were probably thinking oh my gosh, this is awesome how they included this in the details. If you talk to a character, they'll call the guards on you, and it's really nice. And so now I'm at the point where I am up to the first dungeon, which I believe is called the East Temple or the Eastern Palace. I think it's what it's called. So I'm at the very first dungeon of the game, and when I get back to playing it, that's where I left off. So I'm looking forward to playing it because right now I'm definitely loving The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past.
Yeah, man, it's great. Probably my second favorite Legend of Zelda game. It was my first until Breath of the Wild came along.
Yeah, I mean, Breath of the Wild is awesome for many reasons, but again, I can appreciate just these old school games.
Yeah. Now, that being said, is that all you got?
Yeah, that's all I have for now.
All right. Do we have any questions?
We didn't when I last checked, but let me check really quick on the Instagram.
Sounds good. Because I'm pretty sure I didn't have any.
Unfortunately, give me 2 more seconds. I think this is my fault because I put it in the Instagram story. I probably should have made a post about it. That probably would have maybe engaged more people. So I do apologize. I kind of goofed up on that. Because right now I have no questions. I don't know if... not sure if we got any in the email. I don't know if you had any on your end.
I did not. Let me quickly check the email here to see if we got any there. But yeah, on my Instagram, I'm pretty sure I didn't get any. Let's see here. We do not know.
Well,
I believe we don't have any questions this week.
Well, that's a little disappointing, and I guess we'll just have to be more engaging for next week. We gotta do our best to reach out.
Yeah. But with that being said, that's going to be the end of the podcast here. Thank you all for listening. We really do appreciate it. Please, promote our podcast to all your friends who need, something to listen to, want to be entertained. We want to grow this thing out. Also, please check out our YouTube channel, Level With Me. We have a lot of good Let's Plays going on there. Last of Us Part 2, Metroid Zero Mission, Luigi's Mansion 3, Subnautica. What is it?
Below Zero.
Zero Ice. Vanilla Ice, babe, ice to meet you. I just burned a bunch of different funny... That's fine.
I think all the listeners just turned off the podcast from that.
Go watch those. Level With Me on YouTube. And there will be more coming soon.
Don't forget Rising from the Ashes. Don't forget that one too.
Yes. Look forward to that. That's going to get real good.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I should mention this. If you do want to send us a question, I completely forgot to point that out. You can send us an email at levelwithmepodcast@gmail.com, or you can check our Instagrams at either the Level With Me Podcast Instagram, Mike's, which is at the Collector's Vault, or mine, which is at GameBroCorey. We will post usually the day of, throughout the day on Monday. We'll have a little thing, and if you send us a question, we'll give you a shout out, as long as the question is appropriate.
Yes, as long as it's not about meatball pizza.
Yeah,
we will respond. Actually, you know what? That's a lie. If it's about meatball pizza, we'll surely respond.
And then I guess all we really have to say is just our personal plugs. You know, if you want to follow me, you can do so. Game Bro Corey everywhere. I want to do something with Twitch. I don't know what to do. I'm having ideas. I'll talk to Mike about it afterwards. Maybe I won't stream on Twitch, or maybe we'll make a Twitch channel for Level With Me. I don't know. But yeah, it's just Game Bro Corey everywhere. And then for Mike, if you want to follow him.
Yeah, same for me. You can just find me at The Collector's Vault on YouTube and Instagram. You know, we'll have both the Game Bro Corey and the Collector's Vault links in the description below. Reach out to us. We have a lot of good stuff. You know, Corey's always streaming and against playing Smash Online.
I haven't streamed in like months.
Well, the point is that those are your intentions.
Yes.
And if you guys like not only video games, but if you guys like collectibles, shiny cardboard, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, I have all that on my channel, The Collector's Vault, and I'm always discussing that kind of stuff. Admittedly, I haven't been as active as I wanted to. I think it's just because, again, the whole moving situation I've been in. But I'm starting to pick it up a little bit. And but yeah, again, please reach out to us, talk to us on Instagram. We guys love to hear from you. If you guys have any questions, it's not just about getting the shout out. We really want you guys to be more to be engaged with the podcast. It's fun. We love hearing from you. We love to include you guys on the podcast. We love to answer your questions. Because it could be kind of insightful to hear from you guys, or even if you guys to hear from us. We want to support you guys.
Yeah, I agree. But with that being said, do you have any final words you want to say, Frank? Charlie, who's this Velma girl?
Hey, Frank, you want to order a pizza?
No. Who's Velma?
What? Velma's the girl she's on the phone. She works at the pizza place. Do you want 2 meatball pizzas?
Why are they saying she's gay? What's up with that?
What? No, Frank, you can't say that anymore. You can't say that.
I don't get it. I don't get any of this. I'm old, I just like eating my cat food, picking out my toe with my knife. I don't get it.
And then I start blasting.
And then I start shooting them with my water gun. All right, this podcast is done. Let's smooth transition into, I don't know, the abyss.
Sure.